Hello guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to Hellstormwargaming's coverage of the London Grand Tournament Invitational.
Hello there.
Day 1, we're into game 3, round 3. We currently have 4 of the best players in the world playing in front of us, Elliot. So on table 1, we have Nick Nanavati himself with Rickard, who's playing pure Admech, and Nick Nanavati has the Genestealer Cults. And on table 2, we have a dice down off. We have Malik Amin Rubio, and we have Konrad Bartiewicks. I know I've just absolutely butchered both of their surnames, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for some quality 40k content, which will be coming to you live over the course of the next couple of days. Are you enjoying your day so far, Elliot?
I am, yeah. It's a bit of a whirlwind of competitive 40k, but I'm holding on.
It doesn't get any more competitive than this, does it really?
I'm holding on.
Okay, so it's because it's paused, that's all. You have to just play it again. No problem. So on table 2, like we said, we have Konrad and Malik, and they're actually into that now. This is a really, really dicey game, and it's going to be decided, a lot of people think, on turn 1. Malik currently has turn 1. We're going to go straight into that game for you guys, and we'll run down the list when we get there. But there's some pre-game stuff that's happened already, isn't there, Elliot? So we're gonna swap it over to the table now, and we'll be back with you in just a second, guys. Okay, so here we are. We're here with Malik and Konrad on table 2 of the London Grand Tournament Round 3 Invitational. Both of these guys have been successful in the previous 2 games, and the list's the cutting edge of competitive 40k. So we have Konrad rocking the Eldar, which you can see in the bottom right of your screen. As you can see, guys, it is Malik's turn 1. Malik has deployed incredibly aggressively. In the Invitational, there is no opportunity to seize. So when you know you're going first, you can deploy on that line, Elliot, and you're pretty safe to go. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're seeing here with Malik. So full guns blazing, full steam ahead. Salesk, thank you very much for the follow. And what you can expect to see in this turn 1 is a lot of devastation, a lot of fire, and a lot of guns coming down at Konrad.
So there's just some, we will go through the list, but just some things to, because the game is underway, I'm just conscious that we should talk about this. So there is 2 CP being spent by Malik for Seal of Oath on the middle fire prison.
Okay.
I'm not too sure what Seal of Oath does.
It's almost like an old grudges, basically.
Right, okay, cool. So it's a kind of...
It's a reroll wound mechanic.
Right, okay, bro.
So again, it just makes that shooty list even more shooty.
Yeah. And he also used Grudge on the closer fire prison?
Yeah, so that is old grudges. So that is essentially the guard warlord trait where you can pick an enemy unit, you can reroll fail wounds against it. And I imagine he has the relic battle cannon on there as well, Elliot, which means that that's going to be doing flat 3 damage, rerolling all failed wounds. Yeah. And actually, last game, Malik played against a knight player and managed to kill a single knight in 1 round of combat, 1 round of shooting rather, with that lone old grudges battle tank with the relic battle cannon.
Bit insane.
Which is a little bit stupid. So from top to bottom then, Konrad's list.
Konrad, sorry, just quickly, has used prepared positions.
As you'd expect, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to in this kind of scenario. Any like defensive advantage you can get against an army like that is going to be hugely important. You can already see the value of these gladiator grav tanks, guys. They can move and fire without penalty. They can fly. They're BS2. They don't care. They're just running straight up. Yeah. Running straight up. So Konrad's list, guys. We have a air wing detachment that's Aletok. You already know about this. It's -2 to hit. Can be -3 with a stratagem. We have 3 Crimson Hunter Exarchs with two star cannons and 1 pulse laser, and we have 2 Crimson Hunters with 2 bright lances and the pulse laser. So lots of flying support. Pretty box standing. You see that across the tables. I'm sure you'll see a lot of it tomorrow. But it's tried and tested and very, very successful. Yeah. On top of that, we have the Simhan Battalion Detachment.
Okay.
Yep, and that has an autarch Skyrunner with a laser lance, a twin shuriken cannon, and a fusion gun. And then we have 1 Farseer and then 1 Warlock. I imagine that's going to be Guide, Doom, and then Jinx available on those 2 psychic characters there. And then to fill out the troops in that battalion, we have 3 units of 8 Storm Guardians. This is the cheapest way of doing it for Eldar. So we're rocking 48 points for a unit of 8 Storm Guardians as opposed to 60 points or 70 points. I'm not sure which one it is for a unit of normal Guardians. On top of that, we have a Spearhead, which again has another Warlock in. This time, this Warlock's on foot, which will probably be a Protect, I imagine, protecting Jinx again. And then we have 3 Fire Prisms with the Prism Cannon and Twin Shuriken Cannons. So that is the Eldar from Konrad. That's a very strong list. I know Konrad's been playing this for a lot of the season and been doing very well so far. So going into Malik's list.
Just quickly, Konrad has taken Big Game Hunter.
Brilliant.
Mark for Death, which is on the free Calidus.
Yeah, you'd expect that.
Scorpius as well.
Yeah, and then the Relic Scorpius, which I'm about to talk about. So you can see them on your screen now, guys. Obviously, the Gladius Grav tanks are pretty obnoxious. You're not really going to miss them.
Yeah.
The big gold tanks with the red on.
Yeah.
In the middle of your screen, slightly to the left, is that Relic Scorpius, which you've seen already today. It's very, very good. What will commonly happen is people will put Sergeant Kronos in it, which is exactly what Malik's done. Makes it BS2, shooting 3 times, very, very successfully. And you can put the Warlord trait onto Kronos as well, so mortal wounds for days, which is a really, really good strategy that we're seeing a lot of these players at the Invitational use. Is there anything else in terms of secondaries, Elliot, you can update us on in a minute?
Recon for Konrad.
Okay, that's an interesting decision.
Which seals off his free.
Yeah. Okay.
In terms of what's happening on the actual table, so on table 2 with Malik, Malik has just used their Vestroyan stratagem to give +1 to hit.
+1 to hit. Yeah, and that's so point and click, and it's so good. All of a sudden, that tank commander's BS2, and then it's got another +1 to hit. So the Eldar flyers at -2 is almost not a problem. -3 is still a problem because you can obviously use lightning fast on them, make them -3. But again, it just kind of puts out that issue. Really makes them just as reliable as a Gladius Grav tank, which is a very scary prospect.
So
Go ahead.
no, it's okay. I can get to it in a bit.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So we've got Recon, Mark for Death, and Big Game Hunter, you said, for Konrad.
Yeah.
All of them I'd agree with. I think Recon is going to be relatively difficult. Granted, he's going second. I mean, he didn't know he was going second.
Nope.
Obviously, the planes can score Recon, but it's going to be difficult to do that. I don't know how many planes he's going to have left after this first turn.
I don't.
I mean,
It's going to be a very brutal early game.
Tank's with us just now. Tank, how many planes do you think he's going to have left after this turn 1?
Am I good to go?
No, do you want to go?
Oh, yeah, I've got a quick update.
Sure, no problem.
I think he's going to kill 3 planes.
You think he's going to kill 3 planes? So Tank thinks he's going to kill 3 planes. I'll quickly go through Malik's list, and we've got a tiny update from Tank, and then we'll check out table 1. So Malik has a Vigilus attachment of the Emperor's Fist Tank Company that we've already mentioned. So there's 2 tank commanders in there, one with the Relic Battle
middle
Cannon,
one
with the Punisher, 3 infantry squads, then a Vanguard detachment of Space Marines. These are Ultramarines. We've got a Captain in Phobos armor. We've got Sergeant Kronos. We've got 2 Invicta tactical warsuits. We've got the Relic Whirlwind Scorpius, which we've spoke about briefly. And then in the Spearhead, we have a Shield Captain on Dawn Eagle Jetbike, and 3 Gladius Grav tanks. So they're the 2 lists for you to munch on. Like I said, we'll be back into table 1 with Nick Nanavati and Rickard very shortly. We're just going to head over to Tank with the Roman Reporter Cam for a little update on what's going on.
Okay, I won't take you away from the excitement of Malik's turn 1 shooting phase for too long. Just a quick update from the 2 non-stream tables. Simon Pridis won the role to go first against George White with his Knights and Tank Commanders. Chose to go first. However, George White counter-deployed quite well, staying out of range of most of the Tau guns. So Simon Pridis has just had a turn of moving up his Riptides, getting some board position in the centre of the board, and trying to sort of kill an infantry squad to get kill 1 with the smart missiles. Innes Wilson and Josh Deff, the Marine-off, they both wanted first turn. Innes won the role and promptly chose to go first. And those guys are a bit behind. They're still deploying, so I'll keep you updated on that one and speak to you soon.
So just popping back over to this table, there's just some comments in the Twitch chat. So the first one, the Gladius have the heavy Arachnus Blaze Cannon. Yes, they do. So that is the one that's 3d3 plus 3 damage and strength 9, which is going to ruin the Flyers' days. Neil Kerr, you can't give Kronos the mortal wound strat with the refs. The refs, ruled against us 2 weeks ago. Malik was specifically informed, and that's fine. It doesn't say that in his list. I did notice that some of the FAQs and erratas were slightly different. For example, you can get away with Master of Snares in this event, and drop pods can come in turn 6. So there's maybe a little bit lost in translation there. I can assure you that the players aren't breaking the rules. Just a little bit of miscommunication between ourselves. That's all.
Yeah. I've just been told that the Calidus is our opening up.
The Caladius is opening up. So this is a
salvo.
This is a salvo that's probably taken many names over the course of the last few months in the Warhammer 40K season. They're an absolute sight to behold, and were nerfed slightly recently, but they still obviously have a lot of value. So it actually seems like Malik is shooting the fire prisms.
Yeah, so he has just killed that grudged fire prism.
Yeah. And then obviously there's the
with
old
the second
Gladius,
Gladius,
and then there's the Space Marine one, which I cannot remember the name of, which does a very similar thing for that Relic Scorpius to shoot at. So it could be an interesting tactic. I don't know what's right and wrong, honestly. I know that he's going to go in there and blow some stuff off the board. Not entirely sure as to which target's going to be the best.
Yeah.
Should we go check out game 1? Table 1?
Of course, yeah. I don't think there's much happening at the moment.
Yeah, so apologies for this, guys. This is Genestealer Cult for the 3rd time in a row. It starts very slow but gets very fast very quickly. And it kind of all happens turn 3 and 4, doesn't it? So we'll quickly head over to table 2 and we'll get an update from table. We'll head over to table 1 rather, and we'll get an update from table 2 as the news comes in about Malik's shooting phase.
So we're just in Rickard's movement phase at the moment. You can see he was castled up. He's just moving all this stuff out now.
Yeah.
I believe that Nick is going to get hold more as it stands. So Rickard's having to react to that.
You'd expect that from a Genestealer Cult player, honestly. What commonly happens against Genestealer Cult, and we've seen it twice now.
Okay. So just correction.
Yeah.
So Nick got hold 1, but Rickard is going to hold more. Brilliant. At the end of this.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's really good for him.
It's interesting that Nick has gone first.
I think what actually happened on that table is Rickard won the roll and said to Nick, "I know that you can't do much if you go first, so I'm going to let you go first."
Perfect. Right.
And that is the right thing to do against Genestealer Cult. 100%.
Yeah.
It kind of throws them off a little bit because you always have time to react to what they do.
So Nick is apparently holding 5 to... no, sorry, Rickard's apparently holding 5 to Nick's 2.
Holding 5? I mean, there's only 2 objectives. There's only 4 objectives on the board, so maybe 2 to 1.
Yeah, it's Mikey's giving me...
Oh, it's just some misinformation from the table.
Some misinformation.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Mikey, how is he holding 5?
So he'll just be holding 2 against against Nick's 1. Objective
he's holding number 5, right, okay.
Objective number 5, that makes sense. Studio J7 is now hosting us. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate that.
I'm like Anchorman. Whatever you tell me in my ear, I will just repeat. Hence the Librarian Dreadnought comment before.
For those guys,
I'm stupid, yes.
For those guys that maybe aren't aware, there's 5 of us here at the LGT this weekend. There's myself, Elliot, Mikey, Danny, and we have Tank as well. And the way that our stream works is we have 2 players at the tables commentating on what's going on, giving feedback to Elliot straight in his ear. Elliot tells that to you guys, and I'm here to look after the technical stuff behind the scenes, and obviously we have Tank at the room and report, making sure everything's ticking over across the rest of the event.
So Studio J7, welcome. You have actually pointed out 2 Hellstorm members that aren't actually on the stream, so Mikey and Dan. But Mikey and Dan are actually both working the tables at the moment, so it's Elliot and Toby. But
Toby, yeah, that's the one.
But welcome nonetheless.
I can see Konrad already taking models off the board.
Yeah.
This looks like it's going to be a very brutal turn. His face does say 1,000 words. So we're just getting an update from table 2 now with Danny Brook. We'll actually skip over to that just while we're going through the movement phase for Rickard here.
Right, so I can tell you that 2 CP has just been spent. So the Relic Scorpius could fire 3 times, and the bikes are dead.
Wow. So the Relic Scorpius. So this is a good view of what's going on here, guys. So the Relic Scorpius, currently out of line of sight, very, very safe. Fired 3 times into the bikes and killed them all. Is that right? So we're just getting some more updates from the table, but that certainly seems to be the case.
Neil Cares made a really interesting comment, and this is something we've talked to Nick quite about. There seems to be 2 schools of thought in the Warhammer sort of like community.
Right.
There's like European math hammer, and then there's the American sort of more janky, relying on like tricks and tactics over heavily. So there's someone saying it would be interesting to see if the theory hammer and practice will work out against Nick.
Well, that's something to mention. I mean, it's almost negative being a player like Nick Nanavati, because people aspire to beat you and people know what list you play, and it's so well documented that you can build a strategy around it. Whereas for Nick, I mean, surely he's played against that mate plenty of times. Maybe not a list quite like the way Rickard's works, because it's very interesting. While we're speaking about table 1 and their list, do you want to just quickly go over them?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
so
I've just noticed we haven't quite touched on that.
Let's have a look.
So people have seen Nick's list. It will just be slightly down below. We'll just quickly gloss over that, and then we'll look at
as I say, they're at the bottom on the panels for you to read at your own, but we will just go through them. So we have a battalion detachment at the start. So this is the Anointed Throng detachment. There are 2 HQs. There's a Patriarch there and a Primus. The powers are Might from Beyond and Mass Hypnosis on the Patriarch, and the Primus has a Bone Sword. We've got 3 units of 10 Brood...
Brothers?
Asking if your mic's off.
Yeah, that's cool. I just need to move the mic close to my phone. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So it looks like table 1 is on turn 2 already. Again, that's just Nick being with the Genestealer Cults. It's a fast army to play. And then on top of that, we have Rickard being very, very stalwart. We'll just quickly nip over to table 1 rather.
Thanks, Mike 07 800.
07800. So this is table 1 with Nick and Rickard. Obviously, Rickard wants to play quite safe. He doesn't want to give anything away, and Nick has very little to do, which is why they're already in turn 2 already. We can already see that Nick is pulling ahead on 7 points, and Rickard is slightly behind on just 2 points. That's what it says on screen. That might not be right. We're just going to get an update from the table. I think Mikey's imported the score.
While Mikey's doing the technical, I'll carry on with this list. So
go ahead.
We've got the 3 units of aberrants. 2 units of aberrants. Both exactly the same. There's a 10 aberrants in there with 8 power picks and 2 hypermorphs with the heavy improvised weapons, and then a Nexus. I have no idea what that does. We've got a Genestealer mixed detachment. So we've got a battalion. It's the Blood Surge Deliverance detachment.
So just to update you guys, it's not 7-2, it's actually 2-1. Rickard is on 2 points and Nick is on 1 point. That was just a misinput from Mikey there. Boo-hoo, Mikey.
Sorry, the 2 HQs in the Blood Surge Deliverance is that there's a Magos with a familiar.
Yeah. Pretty standard.
Yeah, his powers are Might from Beyond, Mass Hypnosis, Psychic Stimulus.
Buffing those aberrants.
And then you've got an
Acolyte Icon Ward.
Acolyte Icon Ward.
So that just makes charges more reliable, essentially.
Yep. 2 units of Acolytes. There's one with 18 Hand Flamers.
Yeah.
There's one with 15 with 4 Rock Swords.
Yeah.
So they're both squads of 20.
Yeah.
And then we've got 10 Brood Brothers as well. It's full of words. It's full of tongue twisters, this bloody army. You've got a fast attack there. You've got 5 Atlan Jackals with the demo charges and the shotguns. They're all different. And then these are all different little...
Yeah, so that's a mixed Genestealer Cult detachment. That's purely to take advantage of stratagems.
Right.
So you won't always gain the benefits of being that sub-faction, but what you do get access to is all the stratagems that come with that.
Yeah.
So you'll see some stratagems that are specific for certain cults, and then you benefit from them, basically. And that's a really great use of that.
And then lastly, there's a quick battalion at the end. So we've got a Patriarch with the powers Mind Control, Psychic Stimulus.
Yeah.
There's a Jackal Alphas, and then there's 4 units of Neophytes, each with 2 mining lasers and 2 webbers, and then a Kelomorph at the end.
So the mining lasers are mini lasguns, basically.
Right, okay, yeah.
They're very effective.
Short range, I imagine.
Yep. And then we go on to Rickard's list?
We'll go on to Rickard's
So this is something that's slightly different you might not have seen before. So
this is something I'll be more familiar with as well. Right, so we've got a battalion detachment of Admech that's headed up by Belisarius Call, and there's a Tech Priest Engineer as well for the 2 HQs. We do have 12 Cataphon Breachers. Interesting. You don't really see breaches that much, do you, on the table?
There is lists where you have a lot of breaches and they're really, really good. Want to keep going through that?
I don't think we've said anything about Kronos. Sorry, Dan. We've got Skitarii Rangers in there as well, with 65 power, I'm guessing they're minimum squads.
Yeah.
Some Infiltrators in the elite squads, and then Scorpius Disintegrators.
Yeah.
So 3 of them. They're the new floaty tanks for the people who don't know. They've got the Belarus energy cannons and 3 Cognis heavy stubbers.
Some of their weapons ignore line of sight, which is a really great mechanic in this game, especially with the new meta of 40k. What else do we have in there, Elliot?
So we've got another battalion detachment.
Yep.
So that's got a Daedalus.
Yep, that's the new guy. Yep.
Mars Tech Priest Manopolus.
Yep. All the words.
So
this is a mixed
all of the words.
So what you see is there's different Forge Worlds being used for the same purpose.
So we've got 2 different Skitarii Ranger squads, and they're both from Forge World Styges.
Yep.
And then we've got a Skitarii Vanguard squad, which are Graham. And then we have Agrippina Servitors.
The Servitors, yeah.
3 of them.
And I've actually seen the conversions.
So much words.
The conversions that is made for the Servitors look really, really good. And then we have the Night Crusader, the Ironstorm Missile Pod, the Thermal Cannon, the Avenging Gatling Cannon, which is just a standard Crusader loadout that you see copying and pasted.
So there's a quick overview of the list. I believe they are available on the stream, on the panels.
Yeah, they will be, yeah. Excellent.
So you can glaze over them. Now let's try and get back into the games. Let's see where we're at. Now it looks like
the Gryce Strat does soak for GSC. Really does. Because the powers are so important and you can deny them, which makes it really, really good. So we're just looking at table 1. Have you got any updates from the table, Elliot?
No,
Nothing
not yet.
Just yet. So we're just getting an update now from Mikey at table 1.
Right, okay, yeah. So but essentially, Nick has used a stratagem to stop Rickard from shooting.
Okay.
He only could draw line of sight to 1 unit, so we played the stratagem. It's essentially like Cloud Flies, it just kind of stopped him from shooting.
Yeah, that's a really good shot.
So that kind of ended his turn early. I believe it was 2-1.
Good stuff. Okay, so
yeah, so 2-1 to Rickard. Yeah, so clever play by Nick, but Rickard has just pulled ahead.
Okay, should we go take a look at the the dice down matchup
Nick
over
now
there.
gets to deploy all of his stuff.
Yeah, so it's the redeployment phase for the Genestealer Cult. So we'll be back with you when that is sorted, but for the time being, we'll head over to table 2. So we're in Konrad's movement phase now, I do believe. And as you can see, the planes have took flight.
Those jets have spread out everywhere, haven't they?
Yep, and I mean, they're so mobile, it causes a problem for most armies, but it'll be interesting to see what Konrad's take on overcoming this kind of list is, Elliot. I would hate to guess at what's going to be the right play here. Obviously, you have threats from the Invicta Tactical Warsuits. They're relatively difficult to shift, and they're both on objectives now. Then the Caladius, obviously the Shield Captain, which can quite easily deal with a plane in combat if it gets too close. And then the Tank Commanders are not easy to shift either. So there's so many threats coming Konrad's way. It'll be interesting to see how he deals with them. Do we have any information from the table at all?
Not as of yet, no.
Okay, cool. So we're obviously still in the movement phase. We're rolling dice now, so I imagine that's the psychic phase. It looks like we're in the psychic phase.
So I think that is Konrad, we're in Konrad's psychic phase.
Okay.
And he's used Seer Council.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Make them powers more reliable. I don't actually think... No, it doesn't even look like we have any denies available from...
and he's used Smite on the Warsuit that was creeping around on him.
Okay.
For how many damage?
So there is actually an Autarch on a bike on that point just next to that Invicta Warsuit there. It'd be interesting to see what happens in that regard. I think he's shooting. He's shooting him. We're in the shooting phase for the Eldar. This is where we're going to find out just how much he can do in reply.
Dan, did that smite come off?
So Malik actually had a relatively strong first turn. It looks like he got 5 points, which is good. Really strong start. So we got 1 mark for death point, 1 old school point, obviously for the first strike. The mark for death will probably be for one of the wave serpents that he marked as a mark for death, or maybe the bikes, because not wave serpent, sorry, fire prism. Because as you can see, there's 1 fire prism missing from what we started with, and all of the wind riders are gone. So again, thank you for everyone for tuning in. We'll be live all weekend. Follow us here, subscribe to us, stay tuned in for the best content of the London Grand Tournament. We're hosting the Invitational all weekend, so we've got 4 games today. We're in Game 3 at the minute, and Game 5, the final, will be on Saturday night at 8 PM UK time, and that's British summer time. And then obviously we have coverage from the main event, the London Grand Tournament, starting tomorrow. First thing, we'll be live at 10 AM. We've got 3 games for you guys there, and then after those 3 games, like I said, we have the final. Then on Sunday, we've got the 2 final games of the actual London Grand Tournament. Lots of Warhammer there.
Lots of Warhammer happening, and there's some Warhammer happening right now on table 2. Konrad has just had his first psychic phase.
Okay.
Now he casts Smite onto that Warsuit.
Right.
Got 2 wounds off on it.
Okay.
So, okay, yeah, average. He also cast Doom on the Warsuit.
Okay, with the Warsuit on the right-hand side of our screen.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. That makes sense, because that's going to be an imminent threat. It's going to be pressuring his backline relatively soon, and obviously that's going to be close to scoring an objective. So it's really important that Konrad is able to shift Malik off these 4 objectives that he's currently on, or he just ignores them completely and hopes to just kill stuff. I've actually had conversations with Konrad off camera just regarding his list, and he thinks it's really good at killing stuff, but not so good at scoring the points and playing the mission. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in this matchup, because it looks like Malik's list is the same but can score objectives as well.
I've just been told that all the planes are opening up into that Scorpius, and it has 7 wounds left.
Wow, and how many planes have shot it? Do you know?
I'm not sure how many planes have shot it yet. How many he's having to put into it.
So it's taken it off.
It's gone.
That's the Scorpius down. That could be big. That takes out the ignore line of sight, which is going to be helpful. Obviously, you can only shoot at things you can see now, which is going to be a huge play. Is there any place to see the bracket? Unfortunately not Bugman in 1983. It is a knockout, so I can tell you that we only have 8 players left in viability to win this invitational. We have Malik and Konrad, we have Rickard and Nick Nanavati, we have Simon Pridis and George White, and we have Joshua Death and Ennis Wilson. So there's only 8 players left. There's no bracket of any kind.
I was going to say, yeah, the event organisers haven't provided a live bracket of any kind. I believe the information you can probably find online, but as such as what we're provided with to show you officially, we don't really have that to hand.
There really isn't one. The person who win the event will be the one who's won all these games, and there'll only be one player that's won all the games, and that'll be the guy that wins the event. It's as simple as that.
So that is elimination.
Yeah, it's just so elimination is something that's not really seen that much, especially in the UK. I think this is one of the only events that actually run an elimination, and it's good to see because the level of play is really, really good.
It's brutal as well.
Yeah, it's insane.
There can only be one.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the players that you'll see over the course of the rest of the games and the Invitational players that win events regularly in the UK, for example, Malik, Konrad, we have Simon Pridis, lots of really, really good players. And Nick Nanavati doesn't really need much said about him.
Some upsets as well.
Apparently he's a big player in the US, I don't know. There can only be one Fat J Sleeves, that's exactly right. What's good, lads? So thanks for everyone for tuning in on this Friday evening. It's currently 6 PM in the UK. So we're just getting some information live from the table.
So just wrapping up, it took 3 planes to kill that Scorpius.
Okay.
And Konrad has just used a CP to ensure that he killed that warsuit that was doomed.
Okay. And has he killed it? Oh yeah, it has gone. Yeah.
It was a damage reroll.
The warsuit that is on the bottom of that was on the bottom.
Let's
of
see
the
if he
screen
can
of
finish it
objective.
off now. It's not been taken off yet.
It looks like one Invicta warsuit's gone. Hopefully he's going to kill another one here.
There's wounds being added onto that Lehman Russ.
Yeah, it looks like we're taking damage off one of the... That looks like it's the battle cannon Lehman Russ, which will cause a problem, like we've said.
Yep.
The relic battle cannon is a huge problem. It's flat 3 damage, and with all grudges at certain targets, you reroll all failed wounds.
Yeah.
Evil Beard says, no, Scorpius, no. Yeah, Relic Whirlwind Scorpius is a real deal.
I remember playing against
It's a
Billy
real
on the
deal.
channel, and he brought 2 of them, and they were horrible.
And that was before they were like super good, right?
Yeah.
And now they can shoot 3 times. So they normally shoot twice if they stay still or move into half. It's 3d3 shots, so now you can get 93 shots with a stratagem to shoot again as well.
So that tank commander has been left on 1 wound
Wow,
with
really?
no more shooting left, and we are into the charge.
Okay, so that could have been huge. I mean, if he would have killed that tank commander, killed that warsuit that he's fighting, then it's really just playing against...
And just to extend the meme, I've been
Punisher
told
battle
that
cannon?
Nick is still deploying.
And some gladiators. So we'll wait to see the result. Okay, so there goes that Invicta Tactical Warsuit as well. So it looks like Conrad's turn's been really, really good, you know.
Yeah, Conrad's
if he would
had
have
a
killed
big
that battle
turn.
cannon, it could have been a very, very tight game. I'm sure it still will be. Realistically now, we have 3 gladiators to open fire, a Punisher tank commander, which might not do that much against some planes, and we still have 5 planes and 3 5.
So he's going to be leaning very heavily on those Custodes tanks.
I mean, people have done that for a very long time now, and it's worked very successfully.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens in that regard. Sorry, again, it both says a start is. It shouldn't. Oh, it does say a start is. Yeah. Danny, if you can hear me, if you could update the on the ITC Battles app, the factions, that would be great. But just for you guys at home, Malik is playing Imperial Soup and Konrad is playing Pure Eldari. So sorry that it isn't quite updated on the stream overlay. That'll be something that we can fix. But Malik is playing Imperial Soup and Konrad is playing Eldari. So that's the end of Konrad's turn 1. Before we get into Malik's turn 2, we'll just go ahead and check out table 1.
Yeah, of
with
course.
Nick Nanavati and Rickard.
So I haven't had much in the terms of updates because I don't think there are any updates. Nick is just deploying and has been doing for. So we. Brill.
The whirlwind. Why was it so close to the centre of the board? I think.
So we just moved into the psychic phase.
Okay, brilliant.
Smite is being cast on the unit of Rangers
Exciting times.
for 2 wounds.
2 wounds on
Right,
a unit of
okay.
Rangers.
2 of those
Exciting
Rangers will
stuff.
die.
So in answer to Evilbeard's, sorry, not Evilbeard's question, Fat J Sleaze's question, it was out of line of sight behind the big L. So the LGT terrain is set. We have 2 big Ls, as you can see on the screen in front of you. 2 big Ls in the centre, 2 big hills in each deployment zone if you're playing Dawn of War, and then we have 4 small Ls around the edges, and then 2 bits of scatter terrain either side of the board. And the Relic Whirlwind was outside of line of sight of the fire prisms and only targetable by the planes, as opposed to being in range of everything. It does have quite a long range, but the planes are going to come to him, so I don't think the range was a problem. Getting out of line of sight was a priority, and that's something that he did secure. Evilbeard says it looks like we're dealing mortal wounds. Yes, we are. We're smiting. So some Rangers being killed so far. The GSC, so you've seen this time and time again with Nick on stream. It comes in waves. It looks like he's holding his cards quite close to his chest, and we'll see what happens come sort of turn 3, turn 4, the latter stages of the game, when the GSC really come online and start working their magic.
So I've just been told that Nick has used I believe, a stratagem.
Okay.
To give them +1 to wound.
Right,
+1 to. The Jackal Alpha, sorry, has given a unit of.
Did you get that?
Yeah, he's on a bike, but he's buffed another unit. But what unit is that? That's what I'm missing, that piece of information. Yep.
Croggy86 just subscribed. What an absolute
Right, okay.
hero. Thank you very much for the Twitch Prime. We appreciate that. So this game looks like I said, Nick's holding his cards close to his chest. Maybe a little bit of movement coming in.
Right, okay.
But we are in Malik's turn 2 movement phase. Which
So the breaches are now being targeted by mining lasers after having that...
the +1 to wound.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense. What you want to do is kind of stack that with lots of damage to make it way more reliable. You just amplify the value of the points spent on weapons when they can reroll wounds and +1 to wound and things like that.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna dip over to table 2. And we'll go for the second view, and we'll hopefully get a good shot of Malik's movement phase. As you can see here, just measuring out some distances, trying to make sure he's safe from the flyers, maybe within 12 to ignore the ally talk stuff. It looks like he's having a real headache trying to work out what to do.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, there was a little moment where we thought, that's it now.
Yeah.
That's it now.
When he started taking stuff off the board, I mean...
Yeah, I don't think his first turn was as good as he thought he was going to be.
Well, he did get 6 points to Konrad's 5. He obviously did get kill more, which is why he got... hold more, which is why he got that extra point at the end there.
But mathematically, he could have slaughtered him.
Yeah, he could.
He's still got the points, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean, the thing that we'll soon find out, and I think is true when people understand about Custodian's tanks, is that they can be quite durable. They are toughness 7, but they do have an invul save, and they have fly, which they can't be wrapped. Obviously, Konrad has nothing that is going to wrap him anyway, but they are just so durable. They move so fast, they can't be trapped, and they obviously BS2. Custodian's unit is durable, shocking. They are the Emperor's finest, so what can you expect? Not like Grey Knights, the Emperor's finest, that are not durable whatsoever. But I won't get into a rant about Grey Knights. Nobody wants to hear that. So here comes the Shield Captain. Looks like he's being relatively aggressive. Just measuring that distance there. So when that Shield Captain's on that objective, I imagine he's going to have a 3+ or at least a 4+ invul, but maybe 3+ invul through a relic that we may have missed. But he is going to be very durable on that. It'll be tough to shift. Might even require a plane. And what we might find here is Malik almost bubble wraps that Custodian Shield Captain onto that objective, so he can't be shot, so he's almost guaranteed to secure that point earlier. And that's something that is an incredibly smart thing to do, and just helps him secure hold more, because realistically Konrad is not going to be able to get over to that point at the bottom of your screen, and it's going to be difficult for him to take that objective off that Custodian Shield Captain there. So this is Malik setting up for holding more again. We have got a bit of a crowd around the table. It's nice to see. I'm sure a lot of people are desperate to find out how this game's going to go.
So let's just do a quick recap. So just quickly here, Malik has moved and, he's used a stratagem so that he can move and still fire his gun twice. So he's moved himself up onto an objective.
Is that on the tank commander at the bottom of our screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
So he's pushed himself up to that objective and he's still going to be able to fire twice.
Great stuff. Mighty Memnon, thank you very much for the follow.
Also, on table 1, Nick's first unit of is it the Acolytes that have the mining lasers? No, the Acolytes have the rock swords.
The Acolytes, the Neophyte hybrids, have the mining lasers.
Where's the list?
The list is here.
Right, the hybrid.
Yeah, so it's the Neophyte hybrids, yeah.
Yeah. So the first unit whiffed.
Okay.
Weren't able to kill any breaches, so that meant that Nick had to put his second unit in.
Yep.
He fired the Webbers into the infantry in the first L-shaped building.
Okay.
And he was able to kill 2 breaches.
Okay.
So they're the big
Pretty
threat.
solid.
Solid. He does have, was it 12 breaches?
Yeah, he's got 12 in total.
So 2 units of hybrids, killing 2.
Yeah. And what you see at the other objective over there is basically going to be mimicked here by Malik. He's going to bubble wrap that character onto the objective to make it almost impossible to take him off again. And this is a very smart play. It just makes it very difficult for your opponent to shift you off those objectives. And Malik is a seasoned ITC player. He knows what he's doing. I'm sure he's played against Eldar Flyers plenty of times. So we'll see. It looks like it's guns o'clock. We've got some guns coming in soon. We'll find out where they go and we'll keep you updated. So just while we're sort of sorting out targets for Malik there, we are actually going to head over to tank.
Yeah, I was going to say... Oh, okay.
Sorry, you go ahead.
I've got a lot for table 1 that I need to get out of the way before we move on.
Brilliant. Okay, so we'll just quickly nip over to table 1. We'll talk through the updates there, and then we'll be back with tank for
Actually, I've not got that much. Essentially, at the end of Nick's turn, he got kill 1, hold 1. Okay. He also got recon, and his other secondary, which I've not got written down. Okay. Gangbusters. I've never even heard... Gangbusters. I've never heard of Gangbusters, but... The killing 3 he killed 3, not 2.
Killing 3 for 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he has killed 3
it's
breachers,
just
and
big-
that's got
big
him.
squads, basically, that's it.
It's got him. Gangbusters.
You not heard of that one?
Sounds like a very weird, rubbish film from the 80s.
So is there any more updates from Table 1, or is that everything covered?
Right, okay.
Is everything covered from Table 1?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
Brilliant.
we're ready for Tankos.
So we'll hip over to Tank and we'll
High
get an
Fleet
update from the rest.
Tankos.
Hello, everyone. So, George White and Simon Pridis, as we said before, Simon chose to go first. It was a bit of a first turn where not much happened, but George managed to take a 4-0 lead in the scoring just by killing some small infantry units to get kill and kill more and a butcher's bill. Simon's currently just starting his second turn, and he's actually called a Montcar to advance his broadsides and riptides into range of George's knights. So it'll be interesting to see how much damage he can do the first turn. As we discussed before, Innes Wilson went first against Josh Deff in the Marine versus Marine game. Innes went first. He got a hold, a kill, and the bonus point with his scouts. He got a kill by sniping a Tech Marine with his... what are the new primary snipers called? Eliminators, sorry about that. And Josh Deff is just starting to shoot his gun line now, so I'll let you know how much damage he does shortly.
Hello guys, so back into Table 2 in Malik's shooting phase. It definitely is guns o'clock. We're just getting updates from the table as to what shot where and what did what damage, but nothing's off the table just yet. So it looks like nothing's died just yet. We'll soon, like I said, we'll soon get an update from the table and find out for you. But thank you very much, Tank, for that. Adeptus Smarties, Tank with the waistcoat and the tie there, looking dapper. Mikey's looking at me with disapproval. Everyone's tired.
Just some updates from...
Okay, here we go. So updates from Table 2.
Table 2, yeah. So the Punisher whiffed.
Wow, okay.
Fired twice. I think it did 1 wound.
What did it target, do you know?
I do have it written down in my extensive notes. No.
No, we don't have it. That's fine. No worries. It
Don't have
did one wound, that's fine. It looks like Conrad's removing a fire prism
So
there.
it wasn't
one
to
fire prism down.
yeah. So it did go to weaken the fire prism.
Okay.
And then we've just had the tank commander fire, I believe.
With the relic battle cannon.
Yep.
With 1 wound remaining.
With the injured tank at the back.
He finished off the fire prism.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Caladius is opened up yet?
No, I still believe they're resolving the other shot. So the last cannon had fired up into the plane closest to that.
Okay.
You see the one that's on top of the building?
Yeah.
And then he also has the plasmas to fire.
Cool. No problem. So there's a few things to get fired off shortly. Oh god, this is sort of cutting edge. Everyone's got loads of guns, 40k. Very, very nerve-wracking times for both players, I imagine. If certain guns whiff and certain guns do really well, it could totally swing the tide of the game. So again, it looks like we're just firing more shots.
I think we still have the last cannon to fire.
So we still got the last cannon to fire from the tank commander. He is severely wounded though, so his BS will be down. I mean, you can always bring that back up with a scoring strap.
Right, okay.
So worst case scenario is going to be hitting on 4s, which is still great. But again, -1 and -2 against planes. So that might be a reason why Malik is avoiding the planes, simply because the ballistic skill modifiers are just too imposing, and that could quite easily be the case. Moon Tyrannid, oh goal boys. Yeah, Custodes. To be fair, it's mostly Imperial Guard or Astra Militarum, and we do have a Space Marine detachment as well, which is all dead. The captain in Phobos Armor might still be alive. I think he's actually being bubble wrapped by those Imperial Guard on the objective on the left-hand side of your screen. But the rest of the Space Marine detachment is dead, Elliot. It's gone. Dust.
So just to confirm, back on that table, so it was the last cannons and the plasma that killed the fire prism.
Okay.
The battle cannon was able to do 6 damage to the closest flyer.
Right, okay.
So that's the one in the middle of the board. Yeah, so quite good from that injured tank commander.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've also been told that Rickard has managed to get a breacher back through a combination of different character buffs.
That's cool. That's always nice and durable.
Yeah.
The reason why that battle cannon may have shot that flyer is because he's within 12 inches, so he doesn't incur the -1 to hit, which is helpful. So we're just getting another update from the table now. It looks like the Caladiuses are opening up. Konrad making some saves, perhaps. Okay, so again, we are just getting an update from Danny at the table. We'll be back with you in just a second to see what he says. Let's see if we can change that camera angle and get some close-ups on.
Do you know what the character is, Dan?
Okay. So which character? There's a captain in Phobos armor there.
Okay. So the first Cladius has fired.
Okay.
It fired at the injured flyer in the middle of
the one in the middle of the board there on top of that.
But didn't really do any damage.
Okay.
I think there's one wound left on it. It has taken a beating.
Okay.
And now the guardsmen are just trying to chip that one last wound off it.
Brilliant. Okay. Moon Tyranid, what kind of Marines? They are Ultramarines because they are the best at shooting at the minute. Although Iron Hands might have something to say about that. Some of the Iron Hands pre-release stuff that's on Warhammer Community looks incredible. Nate Dog, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Or should I say Nate Dog? But no, he has Captain in Phobos armor, Sergeant Kronos, Invicta Tactical Wallsuit, and the Relic Whirlwind Scorpius. So Ultramarines for all the shooting. So we're still in the shooting phase for Malik here. Be interesting to see what happens after all these Caladius guns have been held to bear. Looks like he's still got all 5 flyers available. We'll just go to top down just to get a better view of exactly what's going on the table.
I feel like we should probably swap to table 1 at some point and give that some love as well.
Yeah, for sure.
We're hovering around Malik and Conrad's game a lot.
Is very exciting in that turn. Is anything interesting happening yet on table 1?
So all the breaches fired into a squad of acolytes.
Okay.
Hybrids with the mining lasers and left one alive with a mining laser. I think he was on 1 wound.
Okay.
So now Rickard's just kind of putting random guns into him to try and finish him off.
Okay.
So he's just killed him.
I think game 2 with Konrad and Malik will be one that's almost finished before this one really starts kicking off with the inclusion of some of the drop units that are coming in from the Genestealer Cults.
You can see there's a plane being removed off the board, so someone's managed to chip that 1 wound off the injured flyer that was in the middle of table 2.
Wow, okay. So it's, for the time being, Nick is biding his time, waiting for an opportunity to strike, while Rickard sits in the corner.
So that was the second Cladius. He's used his profile on the larger guns with more shots to kill that flyer, and now he's using his underslung guns. Okay.
So we're down to 4 flyers and 1 fire prison for Konrad. It's going to be a big turn again.
Rickard, on table 1 has managed to kill both units of hybrids.
Good stuff. So Rickard just chipping away, getting those kill mores, kill units, things like that. Things that are going to score him some early points nice and early.
Apologies, guys, that it's very backwards between table 1 and table 2. We're just getting a lot of updates from both of them. So,
as we've seen with both of the games with GSC so far today, it's important that the opponent tries to get as far ahead as possible early to stop the impending points that come in turn 3, 4, 5, 6 from the Genestealer Cults. And you'll often see Nick go behind in games and then bring it all back towards the middle when his army comes online and really starts pumping out the damage. Looks like the shooting phase over on table 2 might be resolved very shortly.
The shooting phase, I can confirm, is over. So all the Cladius had actually shot. It wasn't the second that killed the flyer.
Okay.
It was the third.
Wow. Okay.
The underslung guns didn't manage to kill that character, whose identity I've still not been able to confirm through our
I think it
through
might
our
be
colleagues.
On a bike.
Yes, probably the autarch. Maybe Dan doesn't know. Maybe that's why he's not answered us.
So there was an autarch on a bike relatively close to
so the Cladius and the Virtus Praetor captain, shield captain, has charged into that character.
Into this.
Oh.
Onto the autarch here. So the autarch on the right side.
So the shield captain has whiffed. He's on a 3+ invulnerable at the moment.
Okay.
Conrad's character, nameless character.
Yeah, maybe how was that protect?
So yeah, he's whiffed the combat, the shield captain.
Okay, so Conrad's going to live to fight another day. Excellent stuff. So
interesting.
At the end of Malik's turn, looks like he's gone up to 8 points so far. Maybe add these secondaries into it now. So 10 points for Malik in turn 2. Relatively strong start. He could quite easily go up to 11 points when he gets that hold more. Very unlikely Konrad to take 3 objectives off him. I don't see that happening anytime soon. So that's interesting stuff. Looks like Konrad's movement phase, so we'll just nip back to table 1 with the Genestealer Cult and the Admech while we wait for Konrad to take his movement phase. And we'll see what happens over here. Do you know what phase we're in here, Elliot, at all? Is it still the shooting phase?
I believe it's Nick's movement phase now. Oh, we're still in Rickard's shooting phase.
Okay, cool. So we're still in Rickard's shooting phase at the minute.
So all the hybrid units are gone. Now he's going to start chipping away at the Brood brothers.
Okay, cool. So you can see, I mean, the majority of stuff that Nick had on the board previously
It's
has
just one mining laser left.
has disappeared. And this is a common thing, isn't it? So the first couple of rounds against GSC is just chipping away at the stuff that can score you points.
Yep.
And then you need to try and stay resilient, stay resolute against the stuff that's going to hurt. Yeah, like Geomanticore says, new custodies. Malik is running the strength 9 gun that does 3 plus D3 damage. Something that has never been seen before, realistically. With reroll to win against vehicles. It's good stuff. Again, welcome to everybody in the stream. We're live for one more game after this game this evening. That'll be round 4 of the London Grand Tournament Invitational. That'll be the semi-final. Both games of the semi-final will be streamed live here at Hellstormwargaming on Twitch. We'll have all 4 players on both tables to find out who's going to be in the final on Saturday night at 8 p.m. British summertime, and that's after 3 games of the LGT. So some of the players that are going to be in that invitational final will be flagging if they've played 4 games today, 4 games tomorrow, and then the 2 games on Sunday.
So just some quick updates from table 1.
Okay.
So Malik's turn ended. He got kill 1, hold 1, marks for death, and what's it called? The big guns one.
Big game hunter. Big game hunter.
Big game hunter.
Yeah.
Big game hunter.
And now we're in the movement phase for Konrad.
Okay, so big game was the flyer. The fire prism was marked for death.
Okay.
So that does make it. Is it 5-1 now on that game?
No, I think Malik has 10 points.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah,
so it's 10-5. Conrad's just starting his turn 2.
Yeah.
So we've had some work. We've had some word from table 2.
Thanks for the follow.
Dan seems to think that, and it's interesting, that Malik's game is to win with boots on the ground. Is that the rule? So basically he's going to try and kill everything that's on foot, just leave his flyers, ignore his flyers for now, and get him that way.
Yeah,
so he's trying to get into that juicy little corner,
over there,
where all of his stuff that's on the ground is down there.
It's very difficult for Eldar players to score points when that's the case.
Yeah.
Because you just can't hold the objectives on the floor,
no.
Which becomes a problem. And it already looks like Malik is sort of tucked in for the long game. I mean, he's on all 4 objectives.
I think after that, he had that first sort of alpha strike that did maybe happen.
Yeah.
He had to change his.
Yeah, unless that was his plan all along, and that's why he was hitting those 5 prisms right from the early.
Very slow game happening on table 1.
With the GSC and the Admech. It looks like Nick is going to be in another redeploy phase soon. Are we in Nick's turn 3 movement phase?
We are, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So as that sort of progresses, we'll go over to that table and see when Nick comes in. Again, it looks like Rickard's got a pretty solid castle, very few gaps left available, and Nick is basically playing a game of Penetrate the Fortress, and that's the game that most people play against.
Don't we all love playing a game of Penetrate the Fortress?
That's just the way the game goes with GSC. People know what's coming, but they still can't really do much about it.
And it looks like if we swap over just briefly to table 1, it does look like Rickard's going to start using his rangers to screen himself.
Okay.
From that brutal attack.
I mean, again, that makes sense. So Nick's just bobbing some dice down now. I imagine that's available places for him to drop.
I was going to say, yeah, they're using the dice to signify bubbles from where he can't drop his units.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It makes it really, very, very clear. Makes it really easy for both players at that point. So it is Nick's movement phase turn 3. Yeah, it's Nick's movement phase turn 3. So I'm sure the Rangers will pop out, but that's exactly what they're there for. It looks like, Danny, if you can hear me, are we in Konrad's psychic phase, or are we about to start the shooting phase for Konrad? He's not listening, is he?
No, not at all.
He's got us in his ears, but he's so engrossed in the game, he just can't hear what we're saying. So we're still in the psychic phase for Konrad. It will be guns o'clock soon. It will be imperative that Konrad pushes the damage in this part of the game. So after we get this jinx, this doom, maybe a guide on someone somewhere, we'll see what happens, see what the lay of the land is like. If Konrad can do the damage he needs to do, it could be a game all over again. It's nobody's game for certain just yet, that's for sure.
So quickening has gone off on table 2.
Okay,
That's why there appears to be a little bit of movement.
Great stuff. So it looks like Konrad is just trying to fit those guys in within and make sure they're outside of an inch of a Gladius, because obviously you can't enjoy move within an inch. And he also wants to make sure he's going to be 3 away from that shield captain, so he doesn't get heroically intervened into and then just killed that way. It doesn't look like the shield captain is completely on the objective, so he would be able to be 3 inches away from the objective and still be more than 3 inches away from that shield captain, which will prevent him from being heroically intervened into. Whereas if the shield captain was wholly over that objective, there is no way he could physically be within 3 of the objective and outside of 3 of that shield captain, which would mean the shield captain would be able to heroically intervene and just kill those Storm Guardians nice and simple.
Yeah.
And it's just a wasted unit and another kill point for Malik. So I'm sure we're going into Konrad's shooting phase soon, and I don't know, Ellie, I think he's got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. You can see already by the way that Konrad's positioned the planes that they're all in spots available to be effective next turn. There's one in almost every single quarter of the board, and they're Eldar planes are so mobile anyway. They're relatively unforgiving, but it does look like Konrad knows what he's doing with these planes, and is tried and tested with the list almost. So it looks like Elliot is just getting an update from Danny at the table. So we'll see what happens in this shooting phase. It could be a big one. So it looks like he's shooting the Gladiuses. I can see some dice in there initially anyway.
Yeah. So during Konrad's psychic phase, he cast Smite on the Gladius.
Yeah.
Was able to get 2 wounds off.
Yeah.
He then put he then cast Jinx and Doom
On the same one.
Yep, and
Okay.
now he's opening up. And also quickening went off, as we've already discussed.
Yeah, we discussed
That's why we saw him moving those Guardians
Uh-huh.
around. And now he's just opening up with the shooting phase with the first few salvos.
Okay. I mean, Jinx and Doom will definitely help.
Yes, big time.
Again, that's re-rolling all failed wound
Okay, it
rolls.
looks like we're going to get some updates now from
That's
table
my next
1.
one to say. Okay. Nothing interesting happened just yet.
You're just grabbing your mic to tease us.
It's just the redeployment phase, isn't it? So there's nothing too exciting to come there. I could just get some popcorn and watch the shooting phase because this is going to be so important. I'm sure these guys have played this matchup plenty of times, actually. Again, they're both from Dice Down and they both live locally. They used to be part of, obviously, Team Draco. And these guys have been attending events together for a long time now. And this is almost like a grudge match. It's a good kind of grudge match. The level of sort of... It's an amicable game, that's for sure. Both players are very clear about what their intentions are, and both players seem relatively happy at the table as well, which is great. It's a good atmosphere to be around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So of these 8 players, Elliot, if you had £50 for a bet, who would you put your money on to win the event? We don't condone betting though, so...
Sorry, I was just getting some updates from the table.
Okay.
If I was to say... So there's a Caladius gone.
Wow, okay.
Over there. I'll get back to your question in a
for
second.
Sure. We'll keep updating
yeah,
with
so
the
there's a
table.
lot of shooting going on. Conrad's splitting his fire at the moment between a Caladius, which obviously has just gone,
Yep, that's
and
the Jinx Doom one.
that tank commander that has 1 wound left on it.
Yeah, good stuff.
So Konrad is in a good position for killing stuff.
Certainly
so
looks good.
We'll have to see. We'll have to come back to that in a few minutes. I believe there's an update coming from Tank.
Yeah, okay.
The roaming
We'll head
reporter
over to our roaming
has
reporter.
returned. Our prodigal reporter.
Hello, everyone. So, been watching the 2 games that are not on the stream. First of all, George White with his Knights and Guard against Simon Pridis with his Tau. Neither of them did much in the first turn, but things are starting to happen now. Simon Pridis has just had his second turn. He killed some Guardsman units with smart missiles to take away some scoring units and get some kills and some points. George did very well with his saving throws on his Knights, and despite all the Tau shooting, he only managed to take a Knight down to 2 wounds, with the others still on full health. Then there was an interesting exchange of stratagems where Simon Pridis used the orbital bombardment stratagem Tau have to take off, and successfully took off the last 2 wounds of the Knight to kill it. And then rather than using the stand back up stratagem on the Tyrannus Knight, George cleverly used the stratagem that gave him a 5-up save against mortal wounds, managed to keep that Knight alive on 1 wound. So that's massive, because using the operate on full profile strat, he can now have 3 Knights working at full profile, coming back at Simon on his second turn. Innis and Josh Death, there's it's quite exciting. There's a lot dying between the two Marine armies. In Josh's first turn, he managed to snipe a Thunderfire cannon with a Hunter, kill some scouts, and killed both of Innis's Eliminator units. Innis has just had his second turn. He managed to kill a Hunter. He managed to get a charge off on Josh's 3 Hunters, which were grouped together with scouts and some aggressors, and he's managed to kill one of the Hunters in combat and wrap another one. So that's quite a big play for him, because now he's got his aggressors and his scouts in combat and they can't be shot, which is big for White Scars. And that's where we're up to on the other table, so I'll pass you back to Elliot and Toby.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much for that, Tank. Great update as always. Adeptus of Smarties, the man himself. So Elliot, have you got some updates from the tables for us?
Yeah, I have. So at the end of the shooting phase,
Yep.
over on table 2, I can tell you that we've killed the... so just to confirm what we've already talked about, we've killed the Calidus.
Yep.
We've killed the tank commander.
Yep.
We've really badly wounded another Calidus to the point where it's in his bottom bracket, maybe on 1 or 2 wounds.
Good stuff.
There's another one that's on essentially 4 wounds. It's still in its top bracket.
Yep.
They did measure to see whether the shield captain was in heroic intervention range.
Yep.
He is not. He's just out.
Yep. As I said before, yeah.
So now I think Konrad's got some decisions to make about what he's going to be doing. Looks like he's going to have a hard thing. In the meantime, over on table 1, Nick was still deploying. He's brought his Aberrants out as sort of like a soft target to try and coax Rickard out of that corner. And now, let's see what he's doing.
So I can just hear Mikey give an update from the table, so it won't be a second in that regard.
Right. So, the Hand Flame Acolytes.
Yep.
I've come out with the perfect ambush, rolled a 1. CP reroll. It was another 1.
Okay. That's not good. That's not good.
So it was 3 CP for 1 inch.
So he needs to be
That's
closer.
a CP for a third of an inch.
It needs to be closer because he wants to be able to shoot them.
Not worth
that's
it.
a big deal.
Not worth it.
So just to update you guys, after two battle rounds on table 2, we have Malik on 11 points and Konrad just behind on 8, and that is purely because Malik has the ball control and is scoring those objectives. So the difference is just holding more twice, essentially, and stopping Konrad from holding 1 that time. Other than that, it's a very close game. So this is redeploy phase 1 from Nick. This is turn 3. Our overlay isn't quite updated yet, so if we could just get an update from Mikey at some point about the points, which I'm sure we'll get momentarily.
Yeah.
That'd be
While
great.
they're resolving their shooting phase, I've just got a quick update from table 2.
Okay.
So
Should we head over and have a look?
Konrad was able to kill 1. He got Big Game Hunter, Mark for Death, and Recon. He didn't actually hold anything.
No, he didn't. No.
So that means that Malik will get hold 1 and hold more.
Okay.
He did get kill 1. Neither of them killed more than each other, I don't think. I think they killed the same amount.
Yeah.
And he did get the bonus because he has 4 objectives. So that leaves us, where are we? 12-11.
12-11, yeah, that's
Super
right.
close game.
So there was a little bit more of an update there. Great stuff. So as you can see, Konrad got 3 big game hunters, 2 Mark for Deaths, and 2 recons. Malik has to think about stopping him scoring them recons, which I'm sure won't be too difficult for him to think about. He's got to kill 1 plane essentially at this point. Mark for Death is going to be something that he's going to have to work at. I mean, he's always got to do is kill his 2 gladiators to max that. And Big Game Hunter is his kill over tank commander.
And those guys are flying through this game as well. They're already finished with their movement phase and are opening up in the shooting. Malik's shooting phase.
Malik's shooting already. Looks like he hardly even moved. So Malik has got Big Game Hunters, Mark for Deaths, and Old Schools as well. So if
that Punisher has just removed a squad of Guardians within about 30 seconds of
you'd
it.
expect, I imagine they just pick them up and put them in the bin.
Yeah.
That generally would be the case. There's so many shots. Guardians are so squishy. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pick them up and put them in the bin after he said he's going to shoot them. So like I was just about to say, if you see Malik take off some planes, take off some tanks, his secondaries could go through the roof. I mean, he's got Big Game Hunter and Mark for Death as well. So when we start killing some of them stuff, it will be a big swing in that regard. Moon Turner says, I missed the super practical styrofoam. So the terrain is head and shoulders better than it was last year. All the tables are identical, and all the tables are very, very functional, and the terrain looks great. It's all on battle mats. The terrain is all painted, so it's a much better place to be than it was last year for sure. Props to the team. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. There's 133 viewers. We currently have 8 players left in the Knockout Invitational. One more round to go after this round today, and then the final on Saturday, 8 PM British summertime. We have Joshua Deff from the US. We have Innes Wilson from Scotland. We have Simon Pridis and George. And then we have Malik, Konrad, Nick Nanavati, and Rickard. So 8 players vying for the title here, guys.
Right, so while we're here on table 2,
yeah.
The shield captain has shot into the plane immediately in front of him and caused a few wounds.
Okay.
And the Caladius has just fired on the same one and just done a straight 6 wounds to it.
Brilliant.
So it must be feeling quite unhealthy now, that plane.
Yeah, I mean, they're only tough to 6 and they're so flimsy.
The plane is down to 1 wound.
Down to 1 wound. I mean, this will happen. Like, if something that wants to kill a plane is in range to kill a plane, I mean, they're not within 12. Sorry, they are within 12, so they're not incurring the additional -1. Custodians hit on ballistic skill 2. So if you don't get an additional -1, you hit on freeze with both of those Caladiuses and that shield captain hitting on freeze because the fly is innately -1, but you ignore the ally top -1.
Yeah.
So it's going to die relatively easily. It's only stuff to 6, like I said. You see Konrad sweating over there now. Should we go check out game 1 with Nick Nanavati and the Genestealer Cult? We'll keep you updated from table 2 with the shooting phase.
Is that a stratagem?
We'll head over to table 1 now.
So he did that in the psychic phase,
so
I'm assuming, though, not in the
looks like
charge.
we've made some successful charges here.
Yeah.
This could be a wrap and trap, which would be very big. We've talked about this earlier today.
So
soft charges, essentially.
He did fluff it with the 1 inch before.
Right, okay.
But he's made his 8-inch charge to get into combat.
That's always good. That's always good. When you're a player that relies on combat, getting charges like that is very, very good. So yeah, this could be a soft charge. So I think Nick's actually explaining to his opponent now. Essentially, you end your charge move with 1 person able to fight, and then after you consolidate, you wrap 1 model, stop them from being able to fall back, and then that unit of yours, that juicy combat unit, is safe for a turn, basically. Because then you get a chance to fight in the fight phase, you kill them in the fight phase, and then when it is your turn, you're free to act and go make a mess in some gun lines like this Admech one. So we'll see how Rickard fights back. Currently in the fight phase for Nick, and we'll keep you updated as that happens. Do we have any updates from table 2 with the shooting phase from Malik? Looks like we're getting an update from the table just now.
Okay, so Malik's just firing a lot of small arms at them planes at the moment, trying to chip wounds off, but not doing a very, very good job.
Okay.
So not tons happening on table 2 at the moment. We'll get back to them in a few minutes when they've had more.
Okay, doke. So that's been all guns blazing really that game. It could have gone on a knife edge. I think first turn was hugely important. Obviously Malik did secure first turn in that game, which is great for him. More information from.
Oh, we can see it happening there on the screen. So he's wrapping up that unit of Rangers in the middle with his hand flamer unit.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I talked about.
Yeah.
And it's right on that point as well. They're not going to be able to get shifted off that point. They're not targetable by any shooting attacks. They're very, very safe. They're going to kill them in Rickard's turn later. And that's going to be hold more secured for basically the remainder of the game now for Nick Nanavati. Uriel Ventry, awesome commentary, guys. Lots of detail, keeping me updated. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you very much for that. That's the reason why we do this. The comments like that make us, even when we're tired, even when we've got loads of games to do, when people say nice things like that, it really keeps us
give me
going.
a heart boner. That's the best. That's the best way I could say it. That's a cardiac arrest.
Slightly less subtle than how I put it, but equally good.
Also, hello to the Honoured First, who gave us a shout out, and we didn't shout back.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. There is a lot of you in the stream. If any of you guys want to just comment below who you think is going to take the crown, then please do that. It'd be great to see what you guys think. Screwer said Elliot is the best. Can confirm Elliot is the best. Yeah, feel free to join in the chat. Who do you guys think is going to win the LGT Invitational? We've got 8 players left. We've got Malik, Konrad, Rickard, Nick Nanavati, Josh Deff, Innes Wilson, George White, and Simon Pridis. We have 1 Eldar, 1 GSC, 1 Admech, 1 Imperial Soup, 2 Space Marines, another Imperial Soup, and Tau. So plenty of strong armies remaining. really good to see how strong Space Marines are in this field. On table 2 on stream 2, we actually had Josh Death versus Stephen Box, Team Box, and they were both playing Space Marines, and that was a really interesting game.
Team Box.
Who's going to win? Mikey with the repulsor spam. Mikey's not playing. Wafrog thinks Simon Prince or Nick Nanavati is going to take the win.
Mikey can't play at these tournaments.
He's not happy about that. Who advanced to round 3? So,
Perfect.
Hi, Scary. Welcome to the stream.
Sorry, just a spicy update from table 2. The shield captain has taken that flyer out that's been on 1 wound for forever. Yeah, also, the other Caladius. I can never be able to say that. Cali tank.
You say the big obnoxious.
The Cali tank did 6 damage to one of the flyers and also killed that pesky character that's been flying around on his bike.
Okay, so while Rickard is just in his movement phase from what it looks like, the fight phase is finished for Nick. I'm sure we'll get an update on the points from Mikey momentarily, but we'll just flip over to table 2 with Konrad and Malik, looking at what looks like Konrad's turn now. Which, again, like you said, they're really, really rifling through this, getting stuff done very, very quickly. You can tell these guys play a lot of Warhammer 40K. So Malik,
they're very well versed, aren't they?
Ending on 16 points. I mean, obviously, that's the start of the battle round. So at the end of the battle round, you could see him get that kill more point and that hold more point. But he has scored the bonus because he is on all 4 points as per the Nexus control rules. Hi Scary. The top 8 at the minute, I mean, there is only 8. It's a knockout, so it's basically the players that win keep going. So we have Malik with his
Kill
Imperial
one,
Soup. We have
hold
Konrad with his Eldar. We
Kill
have
one, hold
Rickard with his Admech and a Knight. We have Nick Nanavati playing with his Genestealer Cult. We have Innes Wilson from Team Scotland playing with his Space Marines, Pure White Scars. We have Joshua Death with his Space Marines. We have George White with Imperial Soup, just the classic Imperial Soup. And then we have Simon Pridis with his Tau. So lots of really strong players with really strong armies still remaining in this. Really looking forward to the next couple of games as this event heats up. It's going to be insane. Thank you very much for all of you tuning in. It's a Friday evening here in the UK. I hope you guys had a great week and look forward to the coverage that Hellstormwargaming will be bringing you over the course of this weekend.
We love you guys. Table 2. Malik has just wrapped up his 3rd turn, I believe.
Yep.
He did get the bonus for having the 4th.
Yep.
He did get Big Game Hunter as well and kill 1 and hold 1.
Yep.
So scoring another 4 points there as we move into Conrad's turn 3 movement.
Okay, so it looks like we're moving these planes. I mean, Recon's going to be relatively easy to secure. All he's got to do is keep that castle at home, keep that nice and safe, and then put 1 plane in each quarter. That's another Recon point straight off the bat. And then we've got the Big Game Hunters and Mark for Deaths, which might start coming through. I mean, there's Caladius on the bottom bracket. That tank commander should die relatively fast, and then it could be a really good spot for Konrad to be in.
While I'm here as well, on table 1, Nick ended his turn by using his Aberrants to kill those pesky infantry and then wrap the other unit.
Yeah.
The Rangers, which are a type of infantry, I shall point out. He scored 2 secondaries and 3 primaries to end up with 5 at the end of his turn 3.
Mikey, if you can hear me, can you just update me what the score is, please, on table 1? For some reason, it's not quite updated on our overlay, that's all. I just want to make sure that the viewers are informed what the score is. It's going to be a relatively low-scoring game initially anyway, and then it all kicks off with Genestealer Cult, as it always does. I'm sure we'll get an update from the table momentarily.
10-7 to Nick is the answer.
Okay, brilliant. So they're just getting into their turn 3s now. It's 10-7 to Nick, and I'm sure there's plenty of points to be scored from both players remaining. Obviously, as things start coming down, there's more options for the Admech player to kill, and vice versa. As things start coming down for the GSC player, there's more threats in the face of that Admech player. So we're still on table 2 here with Konrad and Malik. It looks like we're getting an update from their table. We've seen a Caladius taken off the board already, so that must have been the injured one that went. Or maybe the full health one.
How many wounds did it do?
So we're just getting an update from the table on the damage coming in.
The smite, how many wounds?
But things look good. Things look good for the Eldar player. Remains to be seen what will happen in the end of this turn, but there's a single Caladius and a single Commander Punisher left, and it looks like we're in Konrad's shooting phase, folks. Smells like hot dogs. Damn. Again, thank you very much for everybody tuning in over the course of the day so far.
Right, so Conrad's psychic phase is blazing through, as we know these guys play fast. He did a super smite to kill one of the Caladiuses and doomed the other. So big psychic phase there.
Yeah, with the reroll wounds, that could be another Caladius dead. Things look good for... Honestly, if that Caladius dies and that tank commander's gone as well, we have a Phobos captain and guardsman. And that's a scary prospect when you have 3 Eldar planes bearing down.
It's
on
very
you.
swingy, isn't it? It could go
It
either
really,
way
really
this game.
is. The Honoured first. Which Marine chapters have you seen the most here at the GT? Unfortunately, there's only White Scars and Ultramarines really available with a supplement, so it has basically just been White Scars and Ultramarines. There's a couple of smatterings around with Imperial Fists and the Crimson Fist detachment, the Vigilus one. But apart from that, it's mostly just the Ultramarines and White Scars because they've got all the tricks and toys.
There's no non-codex chapters. There's no Dark
Exactly,
Angels, no Blood Angels, no Space Wolves from what it looks like.
We're the Invitational, baby. You've got to.
Why would you? Why would you
the
bring
best.
those
Exactly.
neutered Marines?
Exactly.
I say that as a Blood Angels player.
Baby Marines. Let's not even talk about Grey Knights. Jesus. So we're still getting updates. This is a very, very, very tense, exciting game on Table 2. Hopefully, Table 2 will be wrapped up before Table 1 really kicks
So
off.
Konrad's occupants of Heathrow Airport are... right, all the Caladiuses are gone.
That Cladius is dead as well, guys.
All the Caladius are gone. The plane started opening up. I believe he's done it on the first plane. Killed the Caladius on the first plane.
Wow. Now, if he could take this commander tank...
It was the first Caladius that killed that tank. Sorry, it was the first plane that killed the Caladius, right? So the second one's now going into the tank commander.
So there's 2 more planes
Perfect.
and the fire prism left to fire.
Woo!
That could be a dead tank commander, folks. I'm not entirely sure how he's going to deal with the shield captain on Dawn Eagle jetbike. Maybe he just ignores him and hopes for the best. But things are pretty spicy.
Second plane has whiffed, and the third Caladius now having to go into the tank commander.
The third plane.
The third plane.
This is your captain speaking. Doesn't like he's quite dead just yet. I'm sure there'll be some more guns to bear. But I'm not sure how Konrad deals with this shield captain on Dawn Eagle jetbike. And it could be a problem because obviously if he has Hurricane Bolters, let me just check his list. I'm sure he will. Definitely the right way to play it. So he does have Hurricane Bolters, and the Inceptor Lance will just go straight.
So those 2...
There goes the tank commander! Oh my god! That must have been...
But it did take the fire prism. So 2 planes and a fire prism to fire into that Caladius.
There's nothing else to shoot at now.
There's nothing else to shoot at. No, but...
Nothing he needs to kill. There's 1 more plane. If he's only fired 2 Crimson Hunter Exiles, there's still 1 more to fire. The shield captain... It looks like Konrad might have finished. He is just totting his points up. But no, that's a monumental turn for Konrad there. There's lots of Thunderhammer Sergeants out there, no doubt. Yeah, there is quite a few. The White Scars ones, particularly with all the pluses to charge, and obviously the Combat Doctrine being so potent for them. I'm not sure what Malik does in this matchup now, guys. If Malik wins this game, he will have had to have played out of his skin. He has Imperial Guardsmen and a Shield Captain and Dawn Eagle Jetbike remaining. This is obviously Malik's turn now. We've just talked about the points for Konrad, and it looks like he's measuring the distance to that plane because he wants to get that. Some of the threats are off the board. I mean, the Shield Captain and Dawn Eagle Jetbike will take a plane out. That's not a problem. But it looks like, I'm sure we'll get an update momentarily from the table, but it looks like it's 17-17, and there's no threats left on the board for Konrad to worry about apart from that Shield Captain and Dawn Eagle Jetbike. That's it.
But is that a big enough threat? While we mull that question over, I think it's time for us probably to go to our roaming reporter.
Yeah. Adeptus Smarties.
Evening, everyone. Bit of an update from the non-stream tables. George White with his 3 Tyrannus Knights and Guard playing Simon Pridis with his Tau. It's a fun game, this one. Simon Pridis keeps trying to get rid of the Knight that's badly wounded. This time Derek the Kroot came in and sprung his booby trap on the Knight with 1 mortal wound left. He managed to kill it, however, he used the Tyrannus stratagem to stand the Knight back up, so George's Knight's been real beasts today, all tournament, and he's still got 3 Knights left, and he's managed to kill a Riptide just as I was leaving the table in return. Simon also got the bonus point last turn, and he made an interesting play wrapping up a tank commander with 3 Piranhas. Over on the Innes Wilson versus Josh Deff game, the Marine versus Marine matchup, a very violent game. There's in Josh's last shooting phase, he managed to kill enough scouts to allow him to target a jump pack chaplain of Innes's and killed him with melters from a tactical squad that came out of a drop pod. I've not seen either of those for a while. He's now countercharging Innis's Marines who are wrapping up his hunters with his characters and intercessors, trying to free those up and kill some of Innis's combat units. We also saw a lieutenant and a chaplain go head-to-head. Josh's chaplain killed Innis's lieutenant in combat. Innis's lieutenant with a power fist fought in death, and they ended up just killing each other. So, two very interesting games. They're both very close still, and you can't see which way it's going to go. So I'll take you back to Elliot and Toby and get you back to the stream tables.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Thank you again, Tank. You absolute hero. God amongst men. Shame about the haircut though, but we'll let that slide. So, we're here with you guys on table 1. We're getting an update from Nick Nanavati and Rickard, I think it's Nielson. Here it is. I apologise, I can't pronounce his name. He's a Swedish Admech player though, with a pure Admech and a Knight Crusader. Mikey is just talking to Elliot via the comms about an update in regard to the table. So we'll see what happens. It looks like the Genestealer Cult are bearing down on the Admech now though. So that could be all to play for.
So he's sort of been chipping away at the Blood Brothers. So the troops, his snipers have managed to leave the Patriarch, the one that's just where. So where there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Mikey's just pointing.
We got the point there.
Yeah. So he's been left on 2 wounds.
Okay.
And I believe Nick has killed 4 units this turn.
It's a lot of units dead.
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing. I mean, you can't doubt a Mechanicum can shoot.
They can, especially if you're playing Mars. And I think, Rickard is playing Mars. He has
and the breachers have just charged the hybrids.
They've just charged the hybrids.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. I'm sure Rickard knows what he's doing, but
apparently, what was that? Strength 6 -1, 3 attacks each, 2 damage.
The problem is though,
1 damage.
with the bases being
1 damage. It was too good to be true. It was too good to be true.
He's obviously trying to kill them so then he can be free, which is definitely the right play. But I don't know if he'll kill them, and if he doesn't kill them, that's his own deaf unit still locked in combat as well. Okay, so we're still just getting an update from the table. Looks like we're getting an update from table 2. We'll go check out the action over there with Konrad and Malik. Okay,
so I've just heard that the shield captain has got a 6-inch charge on that flyer.
Okay.
And the troops have all been trying to like pot shots off on the other flyer to do wounds to it. And the shield captain is in, so he's made that charge.
Yep. So that'll be interesting. I mean, you do get to reroll the wounds when you charge, so that could be big. Shield captains on Donegal jetbacks are quite good at taking these flyers out of the sky with the big pointy sticks. Obviously, the same strength as the model it's fighting, which is going to be helpful. I'm not sure it will kill the model though. We'll keep you updated and let you know.
But again, 2 really good games.
Yeah, two really good games.
We've been very lucky. We've not had any smash-ins on our tables.
Well, I think game 1 with Reese and Aceface was probably the most one-sided game we've had. The rest have just gone right down to the wire, and that's when you know you've got 2 great players in front of you when the games go really, really toe-to-toe and really, really close.
So I can tell you now that shield captain, even with the re-rolls because of the charge, has failed to kill the flyer.
And I mean that's all it can take. I mean the problem now is with the way that Konrad has poised both those planes in the middle of the board, they can quite easily get over to that shield captain and kill him, and then Konrad's sitting really pretty. I mean, Malik is a considerably better player than me, but if I was Malik, I would go after those Guardians, get them really easy kill mores, shoot a unit with the Hurricane Bolters, charge the other unit, kill them both. I think it would have been way more of a problem.
It's almost like the blinkers are on now and he's just trying to focus on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would hate to question what he's doing because, like I said, he's an incredible player, but I'm not sure that was the best play. We'll soon find out. Even getting those 2 characters off that objective might have been a better idea, but it remains to be seen what will happen. So
fortunately, that's the life of a commentator, isn't it? Sometimes
exactly.
You have to make calls about other people's decisions.
Yeah, it looks like we're in Konrad's movement phase now, so we'll see what he does in that regard, see where these planes fly. They're going to have free reign. I mean, it's not going to be difficult for him to get kill mores now because, well, Malik didn't kill anything, I don't think.
No.
That's huge. That's massive. I think they're just measuring the distances here.
Again, big swings.
Seeing what's going on. Yeah, massive swing. So as you can see, Malik in his previous turn, I'm sure it will get updated because he definitely didn't get kill 1, hold 1 bonus and hold more. So we'll see when that gets updated from Danny at the table. But that's a very close game. If I had to make a judgment call now, I'd say Konrad will take that, but a lot can happen. And like we've already said, Malik is a great player. That does look like Eldar Flyers Valerie, and I noticed you asked before, is Boris still playing? No, unfortunately Boris played against Nick Nanavati in round 2 of the LGT Invitational, and he lost that game. He made a few mistakes with his screening against the GSC, and Nick does not need more than one opportunity to abuse that and get in there and do what he needs to do. So we'll just actually flip back over to table 1 with Nick and Rickard and see what's going on there. So the Knight's there as well now. I don't know if he's going to free those Rangers on that objective. That's what he needs to do, because then at least he's got an opportunity to fall back. But it looks like an absolute cluster.
So there's some crazy things going on here. Right, so the Knight has basically multi-charged.
Okay.
He's got into combat with the Aberrants. Now, Nick has used a stratagem so that they can die. Well, so they can die. So they can fight when they die. And they've also got a special funky smelly rule.
Smelly rule.
Psychic power, which means that they will all psychic stimulus, which means they will always fight first.
Yep.
So how that will work is Rickard will get his 1 for charging anyway because it's a charging unit. But then essentially Nick's going to get a free interrupt with those Aberrants.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to smack that Knight or whatever he chooses.
Okay.
And then when they die to the
fight
Knight,
again.
it's going to fight again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Maybe if the Knight's multi-charge, it might be a better call for Nick to ignore them. But then can you ignore them because they're strong, aren't they?
Well, I mean,
Put them in a sticky bit.
Exactly, it just gives them the opportunity to rely on the combat potency of the Aberrants before they die. And if you have a unit like that, and I can tell you first time from playing combat-oriented armies, if you can fight and then die, if you can interrupt for free, fight, die, and fight again, that's something not to be sniffed at.
So the so Rick's chosen the infiltrators to fight first.
Okay, and they're the ones that are in combat with the Aberrants at the top of our screen, guys, I think.
Yeah.
No, objective number 6. Or 5, I don't know. Yeah, it's the one at the top of the screen when you see it, just underneath that building there. So the infiltrators, yeah, spot on. So infiltrators have a lot of attacks, Mikey, is that right? Lots of attacks. They are basically combat admech, which is very bizarre. Yeah. Mikey just looked and went, that's lots of attacks.
They're just like it.
NJ40K, Dan, thank you very much for the follow.
Getting some colourful reports from Table 2 about the state of Eldar Flyers in the game.
should we head over to the table and see what's
there isn't. There isn't much in Summer's
no.
updates. Just more, more sass. More sass.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing at this event, I think all the armies are horrendous, so nobody has a right to be upset about it. I mean, it's filth versus filth, let's be honest. But it is like Heathrow Airport out there. You gotta be careful, folks.
Right. Okay.
So we've just
So
got
if we just
Daniel.
flick quickly over to Table 1, there isn't really much to say about it, other than just to kind of show you what's going on. So Konrad at the moment is just kind of mopping up.
Exactly what I said before.
Yeah.
He's flown over to that shield captain, going to take him out, and then that's all the threats gone.
Exactly, there's no threats once that shield captain is gone.
And you can already, this Phobos captain that you can see on the left hand of your screen, he's stuck there now because Konrad has 2 objectives currently being held. Malik can never give up the fact that he's got 2 objectives, because if he starts losing hold more, that's the initial stranglehold he had on the game completely gone. Timu Jucelius, apologies if I absolutely butchered your name, thank you very much for the follow as well. I mean, it'll be guns o'clock soon, and maybe we'll even get... Yeah, there we go, he's gone. So I think this is a foregone conclusion now, and I hate to say that, but we've got 30 guardsmen and a Phobos captain left.
And the shield captain's gone.
30 guardsmen and a Phobos captain against 3 Eldar Flyers and 1 Fire Prism.
Malik's not been able to do enough, and you can see that on his face.
Yeah, and I mean, Konrad went second as well. Imagine the bedlam if Konrad went first.
Yeah.
Because realistically, if he goes first, he's killing company commanders before they're even shooting. Not company commanders.
Made a big statement, really, hasn't he?
Our comment says the Eldar Flyer game is over. Show Admech versus GSC. I think he's probably right. We are going to take a bit of a deeper dive into the Admech versus GSC game, which is anybody's game.
Yeah, we just waited to stop on that stream just for 2 minutes because we have been focusing on the GSC one for the last sort of 10
so
minutes.
We're back
or
in
so.
here.
Back here, I can tell you that 6 Aberrants are dead so far.
That's good. I mean,
and now they're
will be able to
fighting
fight,
back.
Yeah, exactly. They can fight
Obviously.
when they die. I'd be surprised if this Knight bites the dust. But
Our
it's not
lives
gonna be
for the
unheard of.
four-armed emperor.
It's definitely not going to be unheard of. This is an interesting way to play the game. Rickard said that he had a game plan against this, and it's certainly paying off. So interesting stuff. I'm surprised at how resilient the Eldar fire list really was against Malik.
I've just been told that the knight has a 4+ invulnerable in combat.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's via Sanctuary and Rotate, I imagine.
Spicy.
And that makes that difficult to shift.
Yeah.
They tend not to have invul saves in combat anyway, so when you do rotate with Sanctuary, it really makes a difference. Really stick around.
Cool.
The
knight has taken
really nice
6 wounds, which doesn't sound much, but that's still a quarter of its health.
Yeah. That's...
By just from the aberrants who have died. So. And now the Rending Claws are attacking.
So as Loftus says, I mean, Malik has run Yunari at their peak, and then Gladius Knight Super at its peak. You can't really complain about meta choices. I'm not sure he was complaining about meta choices. Like I said, I think every single player here has a stupidly dumb list anyway. The sort of list you definitely wouldn't take to your friendly local gaming store to make friends. Meant with love, I'm sure it was, Ash. No hard feelings in that regard, none whatsoever. Alex says, love Malik, but he's always used the most bullshit overpowered armies throughout. And I mean, to a certain extent, that's top tier competitive 40k. Every now and again, you get a player that uses something slightly left field that's not known as bullshit, but it soon becomes bullshit.
Right, so the knight, just quickly before I weigh in on this, I've got a lot to say about this. The knight has just taken 10 more wounds from the stop signs.
Yeah, so they're the improvised weapons that the aberrants have. You can get a lot of attacks with them, and they do a lot of damage. The first time I played against them, someone said to me they have like 8 attacks, and I was like, no, they don't. What are you talking about? But they can get a stupidly large amount of attacks with all the psychic powers that buff them. They can fight when they die, and Psychic Stimulus lets them fight first all the time after a charging unit. Horrendous stuff. Which is why it's kind of baffling. I mean, why the Amit player wants to fight them, but
Malik has just managed to get a kill.
Okay.
Yeah, his little Phobos character did kill the character, the Eldar character that was on the hill.
Did he shoot him? I mean, I can see from the table now without even going over to the stream, he's just replaced it. He's just put another character. We'll just quickly nip over so I can show you. Again, I don't think that's going to be enough, unfortunately. I think this will be... I think Konrad probably will run away with it now, but he has... The character that was on the hill at the bottom of your screen was killed by the captain in Phobos armor and then just replaced by another character on a bike. And now Konrad's just dancing around with the planes. What's probably going to happen is he's going to kill all these guardsmen, and I imagine they'll probably shake hands.
I think it's interesting when, just to go back to the whole idea of the meta, when people moan and sort of like bitch almost about people using very, very strong lists. I mean, you see it in all sorts, like video games, with people using supposedly broken weapons or choices or whatever. And people always moan, but like if you want to be playing at the very top level of what you're doing,
Boris,
why would you not use all the tools that you have available to you?
No, I totally
You're not doing
agree.
anything illegal.
Comparing it to something like tennis, if there's a best racket around, you'd use the best racket, right?
Why would you choose one that actually purposefully hamstrings yourself in order to prove a point? You wouldn't. That's stupid, and that's the way you don't win championships.
Exactly.
Use all the tools you have available. Let's get back to the Warhammer.
Yeah, let's get back to the game on Mars. We just wanted to just give you an update on what was happening on
it's
game
and we've got to say that it is the 30 best, I guess best well known,
32,
and some of the best,
and the largest platforms as well. Obviously,
and the largest platforms
guys
in Warhammer. So to expect these guys to not be running super hard meta lists is it's a bit unrealistic, isn't it? Yeah. These guys are going to bring filth. That's why we're here.
We just talk about the filth. We're like cleaners. Boris, what were the results of round 3? Round 3 is still currently ongoing. It looks like the only game that has a conclusion, well, not an official conclusion, is the game with Malik and Konrad. It looks as though Konrad taken that game. Again, still not formal yet, nothing confirmed, but it looks like that's going to be the case. The game with Rickard and Nick that is currently on stream is anybody's game. I think that's very tight on points. We'll get an update on points momentarily. It's not updating on our overlay. Apologies for that. And then we have Innis and Joshua Def still playing, and then obviously we have George White and Simon Pridis. And it looks like those guys are at the table having a bit of a rules debate, so that looks quite heated. So we'll see what happens in that regard. So do we have any updates from the table from Mikey Elliott?
He's just saying that the knight is attacking the aberrants at the moment. I'm not too sure how many he's killed.
Okay.
Right, so he's just killed 2 of them, so 2 of them are going to hit back.
Okay, so this is still the same fight phase where the aberrants fought when they die, Mikey, is that right? Can you just confirm that? So this is still turn 3 fight phase for Rickard, and then we're going to go into turn 4 after, and it'll be Nick's turn. So if we could just actually, Mikey, if you can just listen, if you can give us an update on what is remaining in Deep Strike for Nick. So we're just receiving that information from the table now. We're literally looking at the models on the floor. There's so many GSC models, it's unreal. I'll answer that question in a second, Valerie. I have noticed that. Thank you, though.
Sorry, Dan, just a tiny bit slower, mate. I'm
Cool.
trying to write it down.
So we have a unit of aberrants left with some stop signs. Unit
So
of
I've
10
got turn
aberrants.
5, Konrad.
We've got that Muscle Beach, and then we've got a unit of bikes left as well for Nick. So we've got 10 aberrants and some bikes, and there's still a lot of stuff left for Rickard. Like Neil said, he has to fight them and hold them away from the gun line. That's true. It allows the Scorpiuses to fire without line of sight into stuff that he can get easy kill mores. Holding more is always going to be a task against this army, and I think Rickard probably knew that. As long as he can hold one objective, that'll be enough for sure, just getting that 1 point.
So we aren't going to put it on the stream really anymore because there's not much going on. It's just lots of chatting.
Okay.
But we are still going to bring you updates from Table 2.
Okay.
So at the end of turn 5 then for Konrad, he was able to max out Recon.
Okay.
He also was holding more
Yep.
than Malik.
Yep.
But they killed the same, so no points there.
Yeah. Okay. And that'll probably be all she wrote. I can't imagine Malik killing anything now. So.
No, I can't imagine that game's fairly over yet.
Exactly.
Apologies that we do flip between them, but while we've set up all this live streaming equipment, we've got 2 games underway. It is worth us flicking back just for 30 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no point just
Absolutely.
talking about these things.
Yeah, for
30
sure.
seconds isn't too much.
we don't want to leave any time where we're not really speaking because it becomes almost like we're idling and you guys don't get interested in the
Yeah,
stream
because
and don't feel engaged.
as interesting as Nick and Rick's game still is, there are moments of downtime in every 40k game. It's not super exciting. If we were a American football stream or whatever, we'd be going to our sponsors every 10 minutes, like Honda, etc. But we're not. So we're just going to keep you entertained with what else we have at our disposal.
Yeah. Uriel Ventry puts it very, very succinctly. I agree with Elliot. Tournament equals put up and shut up.
Yeah.
Simple as. Valerie says what armies are left. So we have Eldar, some flyers. We have Admech. We have Genestealer Cult. We have Tau or Imperial Soup. I think that game has finished. Don't know exactly who won that game yet, but we'll get an update on that very shortly. And then we have Space Marines. So we've got Space Marines, Imperial Soup, Tau, Genestealer Cult, Astra Militar, not Astra Militar, Admech, and then Eldar.
Yeah, so I think is it the Breachers, Mikey?
The Cataphren Breachers.
Yeah, so the Acolytes with the Hand Flamers, who
Yeah.
are Bladed Cog, I'll get back to that in a second,
Okay.
have charged the Breachers. Now, Bladed Cog are basically evil Admech within the lore. They have an anti-Admech stratagem, which Mike is going to tell me what that does in a second. Right, so it explodes, hits on 4+. Is that to re-roll, or do you just get straight? They just get a straight another hit. Right, cool. Straight extra attack on a 4+.
Yeah.
So
And this is why you see people take mixed detachments where you can benefit from stratagems and still pick and choose what you want. It used to be a real big problem in the initial stages of 8th edition 40k, and it was the reason why Ynnari was so good, because you could have the Simhan bikers affected
20
by...
minus 4 saves, I think to be took now.
Wow, really? Excellent.
4 Breachers are dead.
Pi 1903 just subscribed. What an absolute hero! Thank you very much for the subscription. We appreciate that. So again, guys, just to reiterate, there's one more game left this evening for the LGT 2019 Invitational, the 32-man knockout event. The next game, we will stream both games of the semi-final. So there'll be 4 players vying for the top spots, which will be duked out tomorrow night at 8 p.m. British summertime. So the semi-final coming to you live at 8 p.m. British summertime. If we run to schedule, that's what it's scheduled to be at. Might be slightly behind, so bear with us if that is the case. But that's the plan at least. And then obviously we're going to have 3 games tomorrow from the LGT itself, the main event, and then 2 games on the Sunday from the LGT again. And we'll be with you all the way.
So there's still it's still all to play for. I know we've written off this Malik game. We think, coming from the table, our reporter from the table, we think that Malik's tactic is going to be to finish up with old school, with sort of like strike last, find enemy lines, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And maybe try and wrap up some late game points.
Do you think?
That's what
I mean, I'm not
that's
convinced.
what Dan seems to think.
I'm not convinced he'll be able to kill anything though, honestly. I mean, he'll have some guardsmen, right?
Well, there's one charge. If he gets this charge off, he might have a chance.
Is it Captain Phobos armor against someone, I
I
guess?
think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll keep you updated on that. But for the most part, we'll focus on this table here with Genestealer Cult and the Admech. So, like Neil's pointed out, Rickard's game plan seems to be working so far. If Mikey, when this turn is over, if you could if you could let me know the points of both players. Again, apologies that our overlay is not updating in this regard. If we can know the points, that would be great, and we'll keep you guys updated with the scores.
Big news from the table that everyone in the chat is writing off. So, the Phobos captain has fired at the flyer, missed. Used his last CP roll of the game and has killed the flyer. Malik's master plan is happening.
Okay.
It's coming.
So this did.
So the game is still there. It's still to fight for.
I mean, has he just got a captain in Phobos armor left? Is that all there is?
I'm not too sure.
It looks like that's the only thing he has. I don't know. I still don't see him winning this game. Konrad's 5 points up. Malik can I mean, we'll see what happens. We've actually got Tank with us for a report from the other 2 games, one of which looks like it might have finished, but we'll get an update from Tank on the other 2 games with Simon Pridis, George White, Innes Wilson, and Joshua Deff.
Okay, hi everyone. I've not got a lot for you actually. 2 fairly cautious, cagey games going on off stream. Simon Pridis with the Tower against George White with the Knights. George White's Knights, he's had 2 get back up now, so he's got 2 badly wounded. They've both got back up 1 time each. Simon has still got a Riptide and all his broadsides left, so both of them have got a lot of tools left to do damage. Board control is roughly even, so that one can still go either way. It's not really swung one way or the other yet. Likewise with Innes Wilson and Josh Deff, not a lot to report since last time. Josh Deff did countercharge the Wrapped Hunters, but he didn't quite manage to clear out all the white scars, and Innes has still got one of the Hunters wrapped up so it can't shoot, and his guys are safe from being shot. But they've pretty much killed all of each other's elements that kind of ventured towards the flanks in the middle of the board, and they've kind of reset to both having the bulk of what they've got left in the corners in their own deployment zone. So quite a cagey tactical game, that one, and it's close on points, and it'll be interesting to see which way it goes as things progress. I think the Tower and the Knights game will eventually end up swinging one way or the other. It'll be quite dicey on who rolls best on invulnerable saves and wound rolls, etc. I can see the Innes and Josh one going right to the wire, because both experienced players and the armies are very evenly matched. So I'll keep you posted on that and let you get back to the stream.
Thank you again for that, Tank. Really good to have someone giving you information from the tables that we can't cover. Covering 2 is great, but there's so many other players there. It's nice to know what's going on around the rest of the event.
Yeah, exactly. We'd love to have all 32 tables covered, but it would just be a mammoth task of trying to give everybody screen
time. Do you have some updates from the tables?
Yeah, so from table 2 over there with Malik and Konrad. So just a correction, it wasn't the Phobos captain that killed the flyer, it was the guardsman, which I think is actually more heroic. And the guardsmen have also made a charge which does put them in behind enemy lines range. So it's happening. In terms of table 1 with Nick and Rick, there is now 16-11 to Nick. Now, Rick did manage to get kill more, but Nick secured everything else.
16-11 to
Nick.
Rick. Nick. All right. Okay.
Yeah, with an N.
Okay. And this is the potential problem with the strategy. I mean, the strategy itself works if you can start pushing back, but if you can't, you will get penned in. The opportunity for you to score the points and kill mores with the score pieces at the back is great. And if that presents itself, then definitely take advantage of that. But I mean, hopefully Rick has enough left in the tank to push out what comes in. But we still have 10 aberrants with improvised weapons and all the stop signs and the unit of the bikes.
And there's something else. Begins with a G. Grots, did you just say? What's the 3rd unit?
So
Acolytes with
rock stars as well.
Right, okay, so three units in reserve still for Nick. And he's currently winning 16-11.
So I mean, Nick has 3 units.
Yeah,
that
and
are
there's the deployment phase again.
A lot of punch here. Obviously, we have the aberrants with the stop signs, the acolytes with the rock stars, and the I think they are actually demolition charge bikers as well. Let me just quickly check the list here in front of me. Yes, so he has got 5 demo charges, and they are rusted claw. So we'll see what happens in that regard. And then the Acolytes remaining is 15 Acolytes with 4 Rock Saws and their Twisted Helix. And then obviously we've got 10 Aberrants, like I mentioned before, with 8 Power Picks and 2 Hypermorphs with heavy improvised weapons, also known as stop signs. About to punch some knights in the face, I imagine.
So, I can tell you the Aberrants with Rock Saws have just got a perfect ambush with 3 inches.
Okay, so that makes that charge 6 inches, and they get +1 to charge. And if there's an Icon Ward, they reroll that charge, so that's a 5-inch charge rerolling, which makes things a lot easier.
Filth.
It's great, isn't it? It really is great.
Genestealer Cults. I'm getting like an essay in Genestealer Cults today, and all he's done is terrify me as a human being.
If you want to stream
I know that
40K.
they're fictional little plastic men that live in a universe, and yet I'm still scared of them.
If you want to stream Comp 40K, you have to know what GSC do, because I expect to see them a lot. I mean, they're boring for a couple of turns, but no, they really do turn the burners on and make stuff happen.
I can see why Rick brought a chair over. I did think no one's really sat down all day. And yet Rickard's just sat down through this entire
So Fat J Sleaze, Reese was very confident with the White Skies. I don't know what knocked him out. It was actually Konrad. Konrad playing on table 2 with the Eldar Flyers, the 5 Eldar Flyers, 3 Fire Prisms, and a smattering of Eldar Psychic characters knocked Reese out of the game. Justin Kemple here. Tell Rickard I said good luck. We will try and pass that message on.
We will.
Mikey, can you hear me? Can you pass a message on from the primary objective TV to Rickard saying it's Justin Temple, good luck?
Justin Kemple.
Kemple, sorry. He's going to pass that message on to you, so he will have seen that. So thank you. I'm sure he will thank you for the support.
As in Richard Kemple says hello.
Justin Kemple says good luck. Justin.
Oh, did you think the message was just to say Justin Kemple too?
So Justin Kemple says, please tell Rickard good luck from Justin Kemple.
Mohawk J is not playing, unfortunately. He is here at the LGT for this weekend, but he is not here at the Invitational. So you will probably see him at some point with his nice hair on the
nice hair, questionable.
on the channel. Apparently Rickard was very happy about the Justin Kemple message. There you go. We are both
pure Amet players. Unfortunately,
what were we going to say in unison?
Rickard has betrayed you because he has Imperial Knight, so he's not a pure Amet player. Boo hiss, boo hiss.
Boo.
So that question's been addressed. Mohawk J is not playing, but like you said, he'll be here tomorrow. He'll be playing in the Open. He's actually the #1 ranked Knight player in the world. Mohawk Miniatures J.
He did get some nice points at one of the ITC majors this year, run by Hellstormwargaming into the Hellstorm 3.
Little plug there, love that.
Where he was our tournament champion and secured some really good Knights points.
Yeah, and secured some excellent prizes. Nah, I'm only joking. You can have one Knight and be pure Emek. Wow, okay. So I apologise, but I mean that's not pure Emek in my eyes. It's cheating. Cheating. The Knight he has is modelled so well. Let me see if I can change the.
We've got dice down on table 2. I can now tell you that the score was 27-24 to Konrad.
Okay.
Yeah, so Malik had a valiant last effort, but just wasn't enough. What he was doing, I guess, was right. Whether he didn't have the dice or whether he just didn't have enough models on the board left, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But he wasn't able to pull it off, and Konrad has got that win.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's great. Both of the guys over there seem relatively happy with that result. None of them have any grudges.
Have those guys on for an interview in a couple minutes.
We will definitely be able to get an interview with both the guys from that have just put their dice down from Dice Down. Konrad and Malik. Okay, everybody, please get off my back. I didn't realise Knights were in the Codex for Admech. He can be pure Admech with a Knight, that's fine. I concede that I was wrong. Still not real, though. Shut up. So you can see the ducky there.
It's in the ITC rules pack.
Yeah, I know it is. Everyone's saying that as well. But it's not true. It's not true. Okay, so we're back with you guys. Stick with your guns. Yeah, I mean, you have to back yourself, right?
I'll just go and say that
you have to back yourself.
They're not real. They're not really Admech.
No, they're not really Admech.
Because they predate the Admech.
Ooh.
Everybody.
Ooh.
They were built as tractors.
With that
agricultural vehicles in the dark age of technology. So shut up.
So thank you to every single one of you for tuning in. Don't be disheartened. This game will be over relatively shortly, but we do have another one for you this evening.
We have one very soon, actually.
From 8 p.m. till 11 p.m. we have round 4. Round 4. Yeah, all
kicks off again back at 8.
4 games in one day. The primary objective TV, thanks for the follow, appreciate that. So we have one more round for you today, round 4, which will be the semi-final. Both of those games will be streamed here live on Hellstormwargaming, and then we will be with you on Saturday night at 8 p.m. for the grand final of the London Grand Tournament Invitational. which is a hotly contested game and prize, and we'd love for you to join us. On top of that, we have 3 games from the actual Open tomorrow.
So the night's blown up. Sorry, I'll just tell you because the explosion's happening right now.
The night's dead.
6 aberrants have just been killed for the explosion. It was only a 4-inch. 6 acolytes.
I was going to say, you can't kill 6 aberrants. So we have some acolytes with rock swords in on that night, Mike. Is that what that is? Just getting confirmation from the table. It looks like the aberrants, the acolytes with rock swords went into the night and killed the knight, and the knight exploded and killed 6 acolytes with rock swords.
Cool. So the aberrants killed the knight, and then the knight's exploded and is now taking stuff to the grave with it. Cool. Mikey, can I just ask you, are we going to be streaming? Someone's asked, are we streaming the top tables this weekend for the LGT, or will it be a different system?
Well, ideally, we'd like to. It's not going to be that easy with that many players, I would have thought. Definitely on day 2, it'll be the top tables.
Okay. Okay. So I've just been told that for the Saturday, what we're basically going to be doing is, because of the system of how the tournament works, there won't really be clear winners. There won't really be proper table 1. So what we're probably going to do is find nice armies, cool people who we think will be a nice fit for the stream, so we get you guys some nice, good, close games. And then as we move into Sunday, obviously, I mean, tomorrow you get the final of the Invitational as well, or the round 4.
8 p.m. British
So in the 8...
Round 5.
So from 8, we have the semi-final tonight at 8.
Yep.
The actual final tomorrow at 8.
Yep.
And then on the Sunday, we'll have the top players from the LGT for 2 rounds.
Yep.
So that'll be the semi-final and the final on Sunday. So all games worth tuning in for.
Yeah. Yep. So whoever's going to win the actual LGT Open, so that the event that's over the course of the weekend, they're going to have to win all 5 games by an absolute country mile. Unfortunately, there's only 5 rounds, and with so many players, there'll be quite a few players that all have 5 wins. So it's important that when you play your games, if you want to win this event, you win by a landslide, because it will come down to those ITC points. As close to 42 as possible, 5 times, and then you're Gucci. What are the table numbers that stream? Hopefully that question was answered as well for you, Wafrog. We'll try and get the tables closest to the top as possible. It'll certainly be players that can win the event, essentially, especially after day 2.
So the breaches have killed all the acolytes in combat.
Brilliant. Okay, so the plan's working in that regard. I think it is Is it Rickard's turn now, Mikey? Can you just quickly? Okay, so we're going into Rickard's turn. So we will have an opportunity to shoot all this stuff, which is going to be massive. I think we still have a unit of aberrants in reserve, and the unit of bikes still in reserve. But I mean, we saw this in game 1 with Nick. Nick was almost tabled, but still managed to score plenty of points in the process. But Rickard looks very relaxed. He's sat down, feels very comfortable. He's about to unload some salvos into the Genestealer Cult, and we'll see what happens in there. Because for the first time in a long time in this game, really, Rickard has an opportunity to unload some salvo and see what happens. It looks like both the players from Dice Down, both Malik and Konrad, are going to come over for an interview.
So yeah, he killed all of them, got 2 secondaries, so now is a good time for a time.
Yeah, so just while Rickard has his movement phase, we'll keep you updated if there is anything that goes on, and we'll definitely update you after the interview. But Rickard's having his movement phase, and we're going to go into his shooting phase relatively shortly.
And it is 2 tables being streamed tomorrow, yeah.
Brilliant, so we'll fill the space with an interview with Konrad and Malik from Dice Down now.
Hello, everyone. I didn't get a chance to see this game, but I'm with Malik Rubio and Konrad Bartiewicks. Very good. Did I do it? Yeah, there you go. As I say, I didn't see the game. Konrad ended up winning. All right. So I'm going to hand over to these guys who are just going to talk you through how it went down and the highlights and any interesting insights you have. And who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Feel free to.
All right, so we're going to start again. So Sorry, we're clearly great at this. Well, I said congratulations. That's what the handshake was. So I was just saying, I actually got turn 1, which I was really excited about because I can do some damage. I should kill basically 2 and a bit of the vehicles, but I only killed 1 and the bikes.
They killed 2 prisoners and the bikes.
Precisely. And then turn 2, there's an Autarch on a 3+ save that's just tanking everything again. And they're just really, really big swings because that was often the difference between kill more.
Lots of little things.
And then every time the unit that survived was doing a ton of damage back, so the Autarch all of a sudden goes nuts with the fusion gun and the laser lance.
Like 7 damage to a Caladius.
Yeah, which is about
Through a Doom and a Jinx, but yeah.
which is like about half of its wounds. So gutted, but in fairness, if you have to lose, you lose to your teammate. So just a huge congratulations again.
Thanks, mate.
Have you got anything to add, Konrad?
Yeah, just loads of little things causing point swings. Like there was also a plane which should have died. He got charged by a shield captain, survived with 3 wounds. That was actually, we counted a 4-point swing, which at the end of the game
You won by 3.
would have meant you would have won, actually. Yeah, because I won by 3 points, which is crazy. So loads of stuff like that, yeah. Just lots of little point swings, yeah.
Okay, so best of luck in the semi-final. And best of luck to both of you tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. Before we go, have any of you, I know you've started a YouTube channel.
We have, yeah.
If you boys want to just quickly plug where people can go to see more of you, that would be good.
Perfect. So yeah, we're both members of Team Dice Down. We've actually got a YouTube channel, a website, a Facebook page. So we've been fortunate enough to win quite a few events. So we're trying to just really share a lot of what we do. So we're going to have competitive battle reports. We will have other battle reports, but just really show you the top of the meta, and we write articles as well, so we've got lots on there. We're actually bearing ourselves, if I'm honest with you, so everything we do to win tournaments, the practice that goes into it, all that kind of stuff. So so far we've had amazing feedback for some of the articles. So that's dicedowntv.co.uk or Dice Down on YouTube channel or Dice Down on Facebook.
Sweet. Have you got anything else, Konrad? Right. Go and check that out, and we'll take you back to Nick and Rickard. Cheers, fellas.
So we have got somebody who's mentioned that they feel quite upset that they've missed a very important phase of movement, but by the sounds of it was just lots of pulling out.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really any high level, highbrow, big brain movement going on. It was just lots of falling back.
I mean, you can kind of see that in front of the acolytes there. They're the stupidly bright baby pink acolytes. Rickard has attempted to screen ever so slightly, which is great. Again, speed bumps. That's been the name of the game for Rickard. Speed bumps. You see the Scorpius has moved slightly to the right of our screen, but all 3 of them in range of Belisarius' call. All 3 of them getting the reroll. All failed hits, not failed hits. Sorry, just hits. So they're getting the buffs. A lot of other stuff in range of the buffs. I think you are right to a certain extent, King Benny. I do think movement is an integral part.
Yeah, movement's very important. Yeah.
But in this example, a little bit of a screen. As you can see, he is on top of that objective, which is incredibly important. And then just creating more safety for the Scorpiuses. You can even see at the bottom of the screen with the Scorpius there. Rickard is very aware that there's still some aberrants to come in, so he's just put some rangers in front of that Scorpius. Simple as that. I mean, the Scorpiuses can fly, so worst case scenario, they're not tagged in combat, but they could quite easily hit the rust heap if a unit of aberrants gets into them.
Just to interrupt you, the 2 tanks are firing. One of them killed, I believe, the first Patriarch and got Slay the Warlord with that. They've ruled now that the second tank can actually draw line of sight to the other Patriarch, so he will now open up on that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even realise they couldn't fly. I thought they could fly because the hover tanks. That makes no sense. Do they have wheels?
Don't worry, King Benny. I mean, we're learning from this as much as we hope you guys are as well. We're always happy to cover different aspects of 40k. I mean, part of the stream is about us all getting better in the hobby together. We're all in this together, aren't we? Without getting too emotional.
Okay, brilliant. But, so they don't fly; they just kind of hover a little bit. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that makes even more sense as to why Rick had a screen. So again, great play from him.
Ooh, so that second Patriarch was nearly killed by the other tank, but he did pass a wound off to, I think it was an Aberrant, and therefore is now still alive on 1 wound.
Mikey, can you just confirm this big pink baby pink unit near the Patriarch? Are they acolytes or aberrants? Aberrants. So there's a unit of acolytes still to come in. Okay, cool. So they are aberrant. So there is a unit of acolytes to come in with 4 rock saws. That's 15 acolytes with rock saws. And I don't think the bikes have hit the board yet, Mike, either, have they? No. Okay, so just to confirm, triple confirm, what remains in the shadows for Nick Nanavati is a unit of Atalan Jackals, a unit of 5 with demo charges.
So they're the bikes, right?
Yep, and if he has the command points remaining, the demo charge stratagem is very effective. And he has a unit of 15 acolytes with 4 rock saws.
So Genestealer Cults obviously have different sort of deep strike and reserve rules for normal armies. Am I right in saying that they can bring stuff in for a turn longer than everybody else?
Yeah, so it's not just a turn longer, it's up to the end of the game. So you can essentially deploy something in a blip and then pick it back up, and then it ignores the previous rule whereby you have to be on the board before turn 3.
Yeah, that's interesting that you technically have deployed them, but then you take them back out.
Yeah.
So technically they've been deployed, so...
Yeah, part of the finesse of Genestealer Cult is sort of mastering that aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Bringing stuff in when you need it. Okay, so it looks like Nick Nanavati. Okay, so we've just got an update from Mikey, and in order for Nick to gain as most points as possible, Nick has 4 different characters on the points. And this is Nexus Control, the ITC mission. So the bonus is if you control all 4. Oh, if you control 3, sorry. Oh, so sorry. If you have 1 character on each objective, which is exactly what he's doing, so he's going to get the bonus in that regard, and he's just throwing stuff at Rickard to hopefully dissuade him from being able to get out and take those characters off the bonus to help him secure the bonus point, which will be integral to Nick's victory in this matchup. Still seems very, very tight. I mean, I apologise that the overlay isn't updating. We'll get an update on points after every turn, as we always do. But it looks very close, and is always the case. It looks like the Genestealer Cult players.
And we're
running
hoping
out
to
of
have
models.
those technical issues smoothed out for the LGT tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we'll have them smoothed out before the next game anyway. Don't worry about that. How are the mechanical tanks doing? Apparently really well. The Scorpiuses are really good.
We've just seen one of them kill a Patriarch and get Slay the Warlord. Couldn't say that word then.
So Rickard's got the Reaper Headhunter in old school, so he won't get a Slay the Warlord, but it's definitely... Oh, it will because of old school.
And
yeah,
just quickly, that
good stuff.
That Patriarch that was left on 1 wound was finished off by the Transonic Aquabuses as well. So
Sniper. Well, that's good stuff. It sounds like Rickard's playing this game to perfection, really, and we'll see what the scores say at the end of the game.
I think he's done very, very well to come up against someone like Nick, using an army like this with straight admech,
well,
and still be holding. It's a very, very good effort.
There is a lot of finesse to pure admech, and pure admech are not an army that you can write off. Obviously, they're not as cut and paste and plug and play as some of the other stuff in the meta, but pure admech armies have been doing well for quite some time now.
Yeah,
and they really are really good. They're business.
They're not typical, though, are they? They're not exactly what you would describe as meta, are they?
No, they're
if you
not.
ask someone to describe them meta, they wouldn't go for straight.
They'd probably have an admech battalion in an Imperial soup somewhere, but
yeah, Rusty 17.
Yeah, no, you're right. There definitely wouldn't be a pure admech army, but maybe Rickard will help catapult them into fame.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it takes. It just takes one person to show, oh, you can do this.
I must admit, though, I don't think it's one of those armies that you can just pick up and be really good at. I think Rickard's been playing them for quite some time now. So we're still just getting regular updates from the table from Mikey.
So it's 22-15 for Nick.
In favour of Nick.
Yeah, going into turn 5.
Okay. Okay, so it's 7 points ahead. Yeah, exactly. Rickard is no slouch with pure admech. And again, Prime Objective TV also doesn't seem like a slouch of admech. I defend the fact that admech are really good. They're just not as simple to play as the other armies in the meta, which is why you just don't see them quite as much.
The rock saws are going to be coming in now.
Okay. So, as explained, here comes the Roxor Aberrants, not Aberrants, sorry, Acolytes. 15 Acolytes, 4 Roxors, and the unit of Atalan Jackals. I think we're actually in turn 5 now, so there'll be one more turn remaining after this. It's 22-15 to Nick Nanavati. Okay, so Rickard, we just heard from the table that Rickard rolled for his Canticles. At the start of this battle round, we got Shrouding, so everyone has a cover save, which is going to be really good. Unfortunately, though, there's no mining lasers left, so he's not really going to get shot by anything. Wow. So from the table as well, Elliot, we just heard that the Roxors have perfect ambush an additional 5 inches.
Nasty. These rules, eh?
4-inch charge.
What can you do against an army that literally pops out within 3 or 5 inches every time?
Yeah, not a lot. You can do your best. I mean, like we said, the screen there from
I'd
from
love it if my
Rickard.
Blood Angels could just appear 3 inches away from everybody all the
Well,
time.
they can charge 3d6, and they can re-roll it, and
Could
they
they,
do
not
ignore
do, could they not do all that? There's
Probably.
only 1 unit per turn, though.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
It's very
you
expensive.
can only 1
to
unit
do.
per turn, perfect ambush, unless you have a Primus, I think. Forgive me if that's wrong. Please don't hate me. Is Nick on Muscle Beach still King Benny? Yeah, he does have 2 units of 10 abs. I'm pretty sure that is the Muscle Beach list. I don't think there's much difference to what he normally runs. Double O Donut says Mech doesn't have that many tricks like Genestealer Cult, and sometimes you can straight up lose by a matchup. I'm sure that's probably right, but I think that's probably the case for the majority of armies. Everyone's got the scissors to their rock, or the rock to their scissors, whichever way around, and it makes the matchup a lot more difficult. Maybe it's not as cut and dry as you straight up lose. I don't play MX, so I couldn't tell you the honest answer to that. Apologies for the Tannoy in the LGT as well.
We just heard that the Calamorph has killed all but 1 Ranger.
Okay. So that's another screen that Nick is trying to get out of the way. Nick actually skipped his psychic phase because he has nothing of value to be doing in that phase anymore. Okay, so here comes the charge from the Rocks or Acolytes, charging the character and the Rangers in front of the Scorpius. This could be big. It'll obviously be able to pile in and tag. Maybe we'll consolidate to even tag 2 Scorpiuses, and if those aberrants are able to tag that one as well, that could be huge because Nick will just stand still on the points and then just slowly rack it up while those Scorpiuses are trying to run away.
10-inch charge.
Made a 10-inch charge with the Acolytes, so they're definitely in. As you can see, he's getting on that point, making that nice and secure. And what you'll probably expect to see is a soft charge. Maybe not, it looks like he's going too close actually. He's going to try and kill the unit and tag the tank rather than soft charge and wrapping it. There's plenty of ways to play that. A soft charge is basically where you have 1 model in range, you fight with 1 model, then you pile in and consolidate and wrap a model so they can't be shot next turn. The first time people experience Genestealer Cult, it's usually pretty. Yeah, that's true. You don't tend to. You wouldn't see someone fighting Genestealer Cult for the first time in an event like this. Maybe tomorrow at the regular event, but certainly not in the Invitational. It's the same concept for most extreme armies. Even back in the day with deep striking stuff, if you're not used to that, that will also ruin your day. So the Aberrants have charged the Rangers successfully. Again, like I said, Elliot, what we'll probably see now is successful combat phases from Nick. He will almost more than likely kill the Rangers that he's in combat with. And then tag the tanks, stop them from shooting next turn. Because there's somebody, well, not somebody, but people have pointed out to myself, they don't have fly, so they're going to be stuck there. Okay, so this could be a monumental swinging turn. And this is what I was saying earlier about fighting against Genestealer Cult and the game plan Rickard had. I mean, it's been great and he's executed it perfectly so far, but eventually you run out of time and run out of steam. Granted, if Nick gets unlucky and doesn't make those 2 charges, we have a completely different game because Rickard can stand still and kill them both. But perfect ambush in 5 inches makes that a 4-inch charge really realistic. I think it's actually a 3-inch charge because you get +1 if you have an icon inside the Acolyte unit. So we're just getting an update from the table now.
The character shot 160 x 60. We don't know what payback does, so that's what we're finding out.
Right.
Okay.
We're just having a break, key break.
Cool. So the guys at the table are just having a pee break, so there'll be no dice being rolled for a short period of time. So I mean, interesting stuff. Interesting. How have you found? Mikey's just come to join us. How have you found the game so far at Table 1, Mikey?
So Rickard's put up a really good fight, I think. Obviously, he screened really well with his Rangers. Nick got really unlucky with his perfect ambush, which was quite big. With the 1 inch, obviously happened probably like an hour ago. What it feels like.
That was like the initial one, wasn't it?
Yeah. But obviously, then the thing is Nick has just dominated the board with all those characters on each of the 3 objectives, and then he just held Rickard in that corner, which is like a shame for Rickard really, because he's not been able to get out to get any more points. So you can see he's like the stream isn't updated, but it's like 22-15 to Nick, so he's got quite a good lead on him.
And it's going to be difficult for Rickard to overturn that whilst being so boxed in, essentially.
Just want to say massive thank you for everyone for tuning in. So and thank you Toby and Elliot, because you're both doing a fantastic job.
You
lovely babes.
You.
So thanks guys.
So just to let you guys know, we do have one more game at the LGT Invitational this evening. It starts at 8 p.m. They'll be joining us live again, the Hellstormwargaming TV crew.
We're going to be going on at 8:30, I think. We
8:30?
need a break, yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense. Konrad's got his top off. Twit-twoo.
Maybe he's going to try and out muscle Tank. Oh, Tank's took an interest. He's smelt the
Tank's
blood.
coming over, he's
Here
seen
he
the biceps.
comes. Here he comes.
So yeah, the stream will be going live about 8:30, guys, and that will be the 2 semi-finals, which will be the winners of all the other games. Sure. So while the guys are having a pee break, we've actually got.
They're not finished yet.
We've got Tank here for an update.
They're just doing toilets and stuff, but
We've got Tank here for an update from the 2 tables that are currently ongoing. So we'll just flip over to that quickly.
So after very sort of close 10 starts in both for non-stream games, we're starting to see the games turn. Innes, Wilson and Josh Death, they're really in the, I think they're in the last turn now. It's been really close all game and back and forth. I've been told that Innes is 3 points up, but Josh has the means to make up the 4 points he needs on bottom. And apparently, if Josh Death just needs to kill a unit by hook or by crook, and he should take that game. But it's been very close. I'll confirm shortly. Simon Pridis and George White, again, it was very close and tense in the early stages, but the toughness of the Tyrannus Knights has just really shone through in that game. The Knights have been killed 3 times and got back up 3 times now, and Simon Pridis just had a whiffy shooting phase, and he's out of drones now. So with 1 knight on full wounds, 1 on half wounds, and 1 with D3 left, and he's got 2 wounds left. He's got the command point to use it on full profile. It's looking really in George's favour, that one now. So looking likely we'll see George White and Josh Death go through, but we'll confirm shortly.
Thank you very much for that, Tank. Adeptus Mechanicus, you absolute hero.
he does suit that name. I like it.
He always calls himself a Space Marine. So it kind of fits, right?
Adeptus Astartes. So Public Enemy number 1 this weekend. I guess in terms of lists, people...
So we just heard from the
won.
table with Innes Wilson that Josh Death just confirmed victor of that game by 1 point.
1 point. So interestingly, the 2 victors that were on the live stream for game 2,
Yeah,
Josh has just beat them. Josh has just won by 1 point in it.
good stuff. Fire away.
So Aberrants have won their combat and now are able to push up.
Yeah, so like I said, they're going to be able to tag those tanks, at least one of them anyway, at least the one on the top of your screen.
Yeah.
So just to fill you in during that interview, the guys came back from the P-break and started rolling dice straight away. It looks like they just yeah, there we go. Okay, there's the consolidates there. So both of those Scorpiuses are going to be tagged now by the Aberrants, which is a bad place to be in. Realistically, they're not going to be able to shoot next turn. I think they should have fly, but that's a contentious topic. And here goes the Acolyte striking, and if they can do the same and tag the other Scorpius, then I think Rickard will struggle to get Nick off the point. Okay, and we've also heard from the table that Nick has piled into a character he hasn't charged, so he can't strike that character. But when he's done fighting the character that he did declare as a target of a charge, he can then consolidate into that character. He won't have been able to swing at him, so he's still going to be alive, and that character is going to be trapped in combat. So worst case scenario, he doesn't tag that Scorpius in the bottom of our screen, but those Acolytes are safe for another turn, and they cannot be shot. Really masterful combat play from Nick. I don't know what else you'd expect from a player of his caliber. Rickard has put up an absolute mammoth fight though. And there are 7 points in it at the minute, but it might be difficult for Rickard to claw back the points that he so desperately needs to win the game. So it's interesting to hear how the Space Marine v Space Marine game went. Joshua Death beating out Innes Wilson of Team Scotland by just a single point. Ironically, Innes won his previous game by just a single point. So there's very, very narrow margins in these games. Again, it's exactly what you'd expect with players of the caliber that we have in front of us today. The chat has gone relatively quiet. It looks like the semi-finals could be the 4 players that maybe, at least there's 5 that may be in the semi-finals. There's Rickard and Nick Nanavati. There's Konrad. There's Joshua Deff, who won his game, and it looks like from the report that we have from Tank, George White is looking likely to beat out Simon Pridis and make his way to the semi-finals. We just got an update from the table there, Elliot.
Yeah, so he got into the third tank. Right, okay. So he's done exactly what you were talking about. So he wasn't able to strike that last character, he's wrapped him, and now he's been able to push up into the third tank as well.
So, so it almost looks like everything that Rickard has left is almost in combat. Belisarius Cole might be able to pile in and
I
fight.
think he's trying to phone a friend.
Trying to phone a friend.
That's what he is. Ring the audience.
Ideas Weasel. I don't have a link to that, but I can tell you what it is. It is an Astra Militarum battalion with 2 tank commanders and 3 units of infantry, 3 mortar teams, 3 House Tyrannus Knights, and an Admech battalion. Pretty standard Tyrannus stuff.
26-15 at the end of Nick's turn 5.
Okay, so Rickard has a turn to bounce back in this battle
these
round.
guys aren't realistically going to get a turn 6 either. We've got 15 minutes before the end of the game.
I think we started a tiny bit later than that, than 5 o'clock, but we'll see anyway. I mean, they might talk it out and both be amicable. That
See, the start of Genestealer Cult is so slow. It's hard to know when they're actually playing or when they're still like doing pre-game admin.
So there goes the first Scorpius retreating. Here comes the second one falling back. And obviously the third one fell back at the top of your screen there. Belisarius Call looks like he's coming into play. He might just be a bait. He might just say, look, if you don't go after my Scorpiuses, go after him. Ideas Weasel says, as a Tyrannus player, it's good to see them out in force. Yeah, no problem. That's the ITC battles up to track points. I'm not...
It was because we mentioned the phone a friend joke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course he was actually using the ITC Battles app. That's how all the scores are being done this weekend, because of that wonderful app that's been designed by Mr. Is it Dubois?
So just an update from the table now. What's left to shoot at the Aberrants? Okay, yeah, so the Aberrants are unfortunately not locked in combat, and there was a mistake in regards to the placement of the models. It's not going to be much of a problem because it was only Call that could shoot, and Call has now just charged those Aberrants. It's great though, because if Call survives, those Aberrants are not going to be able to hit to charge the Scorpiuses, which is great. We still have a unit of Atalan Jackals to come in. I don't know where they are actually.
Have to try and do some swimming to get through that line.
But no, that's a really great play. So tag the units in combat with something that's going to be durable, and then they can't be charged next turn basically. So the Scorpiuses are sitting relatively pretty at the minute, unless this backfires and Call gets killed. So we've heard as well at the start of the
reroll ones in the
mechanicals are reroll ones in the fight phase and +1 strength on Call, which is pretty good. It remains to be seen as to whether or not he'll actually survive this combat against all these Aberrants, but
he's a pretty tough guy, Belisarius Call. Whether he's tough enough to fight a load of Aberrants, probably not. But he's still nothing to sniff at.
No. He's taking off chunks of...
He is the Fabricator General.
So there goes his consolidation as well towards the closest enemy models.
Are those hammerhead moving cups?
More damage coming in. Which ones?
I don't know. There's a comment there. Are those hammerhead moving cups?
No, I don't think they are. We'll try and gloss over that comment. It's a reference to last year's LGT. No, they're not, Ashcroft. There's no hammerheads on the table though. But thank you for the input. So Call killed 5 acolytes in combat. There's still a unit of Aberrants that he's in combat with. If they swing and get lucky, they might just polish him off. But you'd have thought that he'd be a little bit more durable than that. The plan is obviously just to tag the acolytes, tag the Aberrants, stop them from charging the Scorpiuses, and having another turn to shoot. Okay, so he has killed some Aberrants. How many attacks does Call have? Call's taking names.
A lot.
So that looks like it's the end of the battle round for Rickard. Yep,
very quick turn there. Not a lot he can do.
No. Now we're going into Nick's final turn of the game. Again, so it's 28-16 going into the final turn. I think it'll be a struggle for Rickard to get 14 points in his final turn. Essentially, Nick's going to get at least 2. He's going to get hold 1. He's going to get hold more, he's going to get the bonus, so that's free. I think it's probably at this point mathematically impossible for Nick to lose this game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we'll stay with you until they come to some sort of conclusion. Ideas Wheel says, I'm a bit late and playing catch up. Is the next game the final? No, the next game is the semi-final. So next game there'll still be 4 players left in the knockout event, and then after that game it'll be the final, and that's going to be streamed live on Saturday evening at 8 PM British summertime. So we're going to have 3 games of the regular LGT event tomorrow. That's going to be at 10, at 1, and then at 10, 1, and then 4. And then obviously we've got the final of the Invitational tomorrow night at 8 PM British summertime. Yeah, so we've just said from the table as well that I think it's an unsurmountable lead now for the Admech player. I think he's going to require just quick maths, something like 15 points to overcome the lead that Nick has carved out, and that's not going to be realistic in one turn, unfortunately. So the next game will be the semi-final, and the final is tomorrow night. Have you enjoyed this game, Elliot?
I have indeed. Yeah, it's been interesting. Not as close as our last 2 games. Malik and Konrad's game was a really, really good game, and that went down to the wire.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nick and Rickard's game hasn't been the best to watch. I feel like it's been quite dull. Really, it's been a bit of a dull affair.
I've enjoyed it, honestly.
Maybe that's cruel of me to say.
I think that is a bit nasty, I'm afraid.
I think compared to the other games, we've had some absolute scorchers. So whilst that might seem like a really good game normally, we've been spoilt for choice today. We've had a lot of games that have come down to like the final point in the final round.
That's a good way of looking at it.
I mean, in our first round today, we had someone who won within like the last 4 seconds of the round. So we've had some brilliant games today. So to see one sort of run away and be not as equal as the others have been is a little bit of a disappointment.
It's been a slog game.
But
so Ideas Weasel, what factions are in the final 4? Definitely Eldar. Definitely Space Marines. Probably Imperial Soup, and then probably Genestealer Cult. The probablys are not formal yet, so take that with a pinch of salt. Zant says, I need more Space Marine streams. You'll definitely have Space Marines next game because Joshua Def is in the semi-finals with Space Marines, and he'll definitely be on stream because the only 2 games left are going to hit the stream, guys. So we're just grinding out the final bits of this game. I think Rickard has played a really good game, but I think it's just been a little bit too little too late, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's done all the right things, but it's just not enough.
It's not enough.
But like we talked about, you're playing against one of the best armies in the game, in the meta, against one of the best players in the world. So
yeah,
it's going to be tough, whatever you do.
I agree with you, Mini Mad. I don't think this game was boring. I think there was a lot of intricacies to it. That generally tends to be the case with Genestealer Cult. And if you're a viewer that is maybe not fully aware of the extent and the intricacies of Genestealer Cult and the intricacies of this Admech list, then I can see why people would think that. I don't think the best games are the ones where you just both sit in each corner of the board and fire guns at each other. I don't at all. The close ones in any regard are the best games to watch for sure. Is the Imperial Soup Tyrannus flavour? The Imperial Soup is Tyrannus flavour. It's got the free Tyrannus Knights, the Zombie Knights. This is pure Admech, what we have with Rickard, but I think he was referencing George White, who is looking likely to beat Simon Pridis. You need some Electropies to beat some stuff down. Electropies are really good when they get the invuln save when they kill a unit.
Yeah, they can be pretty scary.
I'm not sure it fits in the list that Rickard's rocking. I'm sure if it did fit, he'd have them in because he looks like he knows his stuff about Admech. That's for sure. Fine-tuned list. Put them in the new Dune Riders. The Scorpius Disintegrators. All three Scorpius, sorry, just shooting that aberrant unit until it's gone. The terrain does look nice, especially.
We've had lots of players this year as well, been honest, and said it's a much better experience this year.
Yeah, all the tables are identical. The terrain is preset, so if it's not quite right when you get to the table, all you've got to do is measure it out and make sure it is so. So there's no quibbles and quabbles in that regard. And the terrain's all painted. It's all MDF and built. So they're actually sponsored by TT Combat. There goes the handshake, guys. Rickard is obviously aware that the lead is insurmountable and accepts the fact that he's not going to be able to overtake that. Excellent. So we have one game left to finish to find out who is going to be playing in the semi-final. We still have Simon Pridis and George White playing. We have Konrad with his Eldari, we have Nick with the Genestealer Cult, we have Joshua Death with his Space Marines, and then we have one more game that is still ongoing, When we interviewed Rickard post-game, asking him if he regrets not going with Dakabots, was a long debate about it last week in Malmo. I'll make sure that we do ask him that. GSC generally have too many bodies, so what we're going to do, guys, we're going to flip the camera back around to myself and Elliot. I'm going to introduce ourselves to you guys again and just close out this stream. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Hello.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us throughout the course of those 2 games. We've certainly enjoyed it. We hope you have.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it. Tank is just rounding up the troops to have a quick interview with both Nick Nanavati and Rickard Nielson, the anime player and the GSC player respectively.
Yeah.
In the end, I think Nick just kind of had too much of a lead.
Yeah, he did a lot early on, didn't he? He'd already sort of built up a lead, and whereas Rickard made some really good tactical decisions in the late game, he'd already kind of lost it.
Yeah.
So that's a shame to watch that sort of game, and that's what I meant by it's not been the most exciting.
Yeah.
Because we'd already kind of said sort of around turn 3 it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Nick play plenty of time on stream, and it seems to be the same kind of process.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are armies that deal with it incredibly well, but essentially he just sends in waves and tries to grind down his opponent while he gets the board.
Yeah.
Because it's very rare that his opponent will take the board off him. I mean, in his game too, he played against Boris Mitchev with his Orcs, and he managed to get the board, but exposed himself too much in doing so.
Yeah.
So it is a fine sort of line to cross. Looks like we'll be getting an interview soon. I think they're just on the phone. I'm not sure what's going on over at the table. Oh, they're actually talking to one of the Swedish guys. Okay, brilliant. So Tank is just at the table. Hopefully we'll get an interview with those guys really soon. Have you enjoyed it?
How do you mean? In the whole tournament in general?
Yeah, so far today.
Yeah, it's been very different. I mean, I didn't come down to the LGT last year. Heard the bad press.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what to expect. I've been nothing but impressed this year, you know.
Yeah. I think it's been a great environment so far.
We were sorted out at dinner. All the tables look good. All the battle mats are good. The terrain is decent. There's not been a negative comment, so no complaints from me.
Good stuff. So we do have Tank with both the players from that game. We're going to go ahead and interview those guys now.
Someone did ask. Do you want to come and look at the question so that he doesn't already have it?
Hello.
Always an excuse. You can't just lose because you have.
Can I interrupt you guys, please?
No. Yeah.
So I've got Nick and Rickard here, who you've just enjoyed their game. Not a great matchup for the Admech. It's always tough being a gunline against GSC.
He's done it twice though.
He's been doing it all day, haven't you?
Yeah.
I'll hand the mic over to the guys, and they'll talk you through the game and their insights into it and how they felt about how it went down. And we'll take it from there. And I think we might have a couple of questions from the stream, which I'll ask after. So who's going first?
Well, I can start since I started. And I've read that you should give the Genestealer Cult player the first turn, which I did, and I guess that was the right decision.
It's really annoying. I kind of lost the scoreboard for the first couple turns. You know?
Exactly.
And that's you gotta get, because that forces me to make the move.
Exactly.
If I can sit on my ass and do nothing, I'll do that all day long.
And I mean, the first turns felt okay for me.
The first 2 turns I think went great.
Yeah.
You forced me to drop all my mining lasers. You just straight up killed them all.
Yeah.
I killed 3 breachers and you killed 40 las cannons, and I was like, I knew this would happen, but I'm not happy that it did.
Yeah. No, but it was a tough matchup, and I've been running a list with 30 infiltrators, like I told you, but not tonight. But then I'm too vulnerable against matchups against armor, for example.
Yeah.
So no.
Right. So.
Go over to you.
I think Rickard played a really good game of 40K. It's a horrible match, as we've talked about. He didn't give me an inch, just like my round 1 opponent. He didn't give me anything. There was no screens to abuse. There was no mistakes in his lines. It's just a matter of fact that I'm gonna get in, and I spent 400 points in my army to kill 2 units of 5 guys, just so on the next turn I could wrap something. And that's all it was. The only chance he had was that I either missed that opportunity, like I didn't see that play, or I just failed my charges afterwards. And I tried. I did roll double ones on a perfect ambush.
Yeah, there were some close ones.
But then I just rolled a hard 8 for the charge, so I was okay. I was okay. But no, Richard played a great game. It's just a horrible match, and he did the best he could. I got nothing to say.
It was a pleasure to play against Nick.
He's a pleasure to play. He's really very friendly 40K, top level, like intent-based and very just, correct way to play 40K.
So is Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's really relaxed. I felt really
Me
relaxed
too,
playing
me
the
too.
game.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's a question from the stream for Rickard.
Oh, nice.
Someone who was speaking to you at Malmo recently.
Nice.
Apparently you said
Rickard or Richard? I'm sorry.
Rickard, is it?
Rickard is
I'm sorry.
in Sweden, but Richard is here.
Okay.
Fine.
So you were telling them that you were considering bringing some Castellan robots to this.
Yes,
And
I
that
was.
they wanted to know if you regretted not bringing them.
No.
It would have been horrible in this game, right?
Yeah, it would have been horrible. So no
I
Castellans,
actually thought, because I've met him before, right, at LVO.
we talked before LVO,
and I saw his knight, and his two models. His army's beautiful. He has his Castellan pose, the exact same custom pose as the Crusader, the Kraus Crusader. So I was looking at his army, and I was like, oh, he's got a Castellan. I can't lose this. He's got 700 points. It does nothing. And it's like, he shows me his list. He's like, it's a Crusader. I'm like, oh. That's a lot better for him. It's a slight disappointment, but at the same time, like, this guy knows how to model and paint. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Beautiful army. Yeah,
Beautiful.
the robot's obviously a bad choice because they get touched and they're useless.
Absolutely.
So,
And with the new tanks against the Genestealer Cults, that's all the DACA you need to remove those 5-up save
I want to
guys.
ask you though, since we're on
Yeah,
stream,
of
why not?
course.
Do you think there's anything I messed up on? Like, not rules-wise, but like just tactically.
No.
Really?
No, nothing.
Really?
high
No.
praise.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I mean, I've played against Genestealer Cult players,
Yeah.
and some make more mistakes,
Yeah.
obviously, that you can capitalize on, but
Yeah, of
you
course.
felt like you had like good odds on all your rolls.
Well, I
and
tried
you,
to set that. That's the whole
yeah,
thing,
and
right?
you used your command points wisely
Yeah.
when you needed to.
Yeah. Didn't
So
waste
no,
them, yeah.
nothing. I
Thank you.
don't
Yeah.
have anything to.
No, same here. So I'm glad I give you a good game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I think that's a good segue into you to tell the people at home about your coaching services, if they'd like to be as good as
Yeah.
you.
I've actually used them myself.
Let's talk.
Me,
Yeah.
me
He's
too.
here.
Me
Top
too.
8
Aaron.
yeah, tank and
Hey, come back.
No, before before the LVO last year, I actually called you and we had a Skype call, and that was
right.
really insightful. I discussed my insight on AdMech and got your feedback on it, and actually won the first 5 games.
Yeah, 2-5-1 at
Yeah.
LVO. I also won 5-1, so
Yeah,
just got
I
something.
did tweak the list slightly though, but the insight was good. Absolutely.
It's the thoughts I give you. So it's the mindset. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I do offer coaching services. I teach at nightstagametable.com. That's the Game Table Pro. I teach 5 classes a week on general 40K tactics and strategy, Imperium, Eldar, Chaos, and Xenos. I also do a live stream battle report. Unlike kind of these battle reports, no offense to these guys, they're doing a great job. But I give you like what I'm thinking as the player. Like, why am I not doing these moves that I could be doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What my opponent's doing? What he's not doing? Like, I give you the entire inside picture of our brains. I do Meta Mondays as well. So every week I'll hop on Facebook Live and I'll talk about the new releases like the Space Marine supplements and codexes, the new FAQ about to drop, all that stuff, how it's going to impact the meta. So if Flyers get nerfed, it's not just simply Eldar have to change lists. It's everyone no longer has to deal with Flyers. And I'll talk about how that affects every single army every time. So, and it's not just that, like past tournament results, if some new unexpected nonsense does really well in LGT, I'll talk about that as well. So you get the whole shebang. So anyways, that's Knights of the Game Table Pro. If you're interested, please message me on Facebook. I'm Nick Brown on Facebook. I'll be happy to talk to you about 40K for days. Just message me. I'll answer whatever questions you got. So thanks, guys.
Rickard, have you got anything you'd like to... Do you have a YouTube channel or anything like that?
No, I do have a Facebook page. I started a competitive Adeptus Mechanicus Facebook page.
Tell us what it's called.
Yeah, it's competitive Adeptus Mechanicus, and it's on Facebook. And started it before I went to LVO last year, and that's where we hang out when we talk. AdMech toaster-loving family. So we're actually going to have a meetup tomorrow with all the guys and girls from AdMech, competitive AdMech.
Yeah.
So join us.
Yeah. Go and check those out, guys, for sure. So yeah, thanks to you guys.
Yeah, thanks
It's
for
been a
having us.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Good luck in the semi-final. Good luck tomorrow in the GT.
Absolutely.
And go and have a beer and enjoy yourselves.
We will.
Thanks, guys.
Before I go, Mikey, Mikey's here. He's been doing my job for me while I've been interviewing. Do you want to tell us about how Simon and George's game finished?
Yeah, sure. So it was really, really close, as you know. The game, it sounds like all the way through the game, it was really, really close. Basically, what Simon was doing, he only had characters left. He essentially charged Shadow Sun into a knight out of sight. and then piled in onto an objective. Had Shadow's Son survived, Simon would have won the game. So the knight ended up killing Shadow's Son, did just enough wounds on the D3 because he passed loads of saves. So what that means is he got kill 1, he got like, I think it was Headhunter or something like that. So the final score anyway to George was 24-21. So Simon just got knocked out there. So yeah, really, really great game. So yeah, I think that's everything. So we have George, Konrad, Nick, and Joshua Death in the next game. So they're the 4 in the next games. So yeah, so let's cut back to the commentators and let them do their thing.
Toby, wake up. They're done plugging. They're done plugging now. We're back. We're back.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Like Mike has explained, we've got the 4 remaining players.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be hitting you live at 8:30 British Summer Time with the semi-finals of the Lundgren Tournament Invitational. I'm hyped. Are you hyped?
I'm hyped.
Great stuff. Well,
I'm
thank
hyped.
you for watching, guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you very soon.
Yeah, see you later.